when these great musicians and celebrities come to the table, they're coming there not for me. Okay, they're coming there, they're giving back, and they're putting in everything they have, and I speak to them, and I write with them, and I perform with them, and we text each other on our birthdays and on the holidays, and we tell each other stories, and most of it has nothing to do with music. It's all about this common ground that we have, and we all want to make a difference, and Baby Rocco's really, he's that's why I say I don't have a manager. He's my manager, and he manages my career.
Yeah.
And I look to him for guidance. And it's like, hey, hey, buddy. I call him buddy. And I go to the cemetery and I sit there and I speak to him, and I'm like, hey, it's like, why is this going on? What would you like me to try next? It, it it's not crazy. It's just very deep. And I feel that as a musician, you have to have that connection, with the universe. And there's some people that don't believe, whatever they believe in, they believe in a higher power. I happen to be Catholic, and I believe in God, and I believe in Jesus Christ. And so for me, I feel that that's where my son is. And I look up and I'm like, hey, what can you do for me? Some musicians I work with believe in, they say, the universe, or but the energy comes from somewhere.
Right.
And we're all, I don't think any energy source is right or wrong. I think we're all receiving something from somewhere, and as long as it's positive, then I'm in full support of it.
Gotcha. Awesome. We may have to repeat some of that. There seemed to have been an issue with the stream. But
should I stop when I see a red line or something?
Oh no, that was
the red cross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was giving you background information on the.
I can't see.
I didn't have any audio issues over here.
What's that?
I didn't have any audio issues over here.
Oh, okay. All right. So hopefully we caught it. But anyway, yeah. So so to get back to your original question about the foundation, it's growing. It's just like anything else, and it's and our goal is to help families, to help children, to bring music. My goal is to bring music into every child's life, because music does heal. It's healed me, and I see what it's done for other people and other musicians.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about the guitar again, because because of the problem that we had. I apologize for that.
No problem. So the 316 Axis guitar that you see there was originally a prototype from an orange guitar that I bought in 1980 something from ESP Guitars, when I was endorsed by ESP Guitars. After Rocco's tragedy on September 2nd, 2017, what I did was I used a caution tape around my orange ESP, and that's what I got from it. Then I started working with a gentleman, Paul, from Rockaway Relics. He's a guitar designer and a fireman who started building guitars out of driftwood after Sandy. And we connected, and he transformed my concept of my orange ESP with tape on it to exactly what you see there. That orange guitar with it's a painted black and yellow warning tape, and it's supposed to stand for Rocco was he was hit by a distracted driver, so it's basically a sign to remind people to drive carefully, to do things carefully. There are children on the road, and that's basically what the guitar stands for. We're playing with a few different colors now. We may do a yellow with a black and yellow stripe, or some just to keep the line going. And it's really taken on a life of its own. People all over the world send me messages on social media, man, I love that guitar. Where can I get one? You know, and
I've been on it.
Yeah, and on the back it has 316 on it, which is Rocco's birth date. He was born March 16th, 2015. And it's one of those things, and that is in development. I'm working with Ernie Ball, Music Man, trying to market the guitar. It's as a new artist, technically, which I am, it's hard to build any kind of steam, right? It's but I think some great things are happening, so you never know. And I would love to market that guitar and take the proceeds from that and put it towards the Baby Rocco Foundation and help children with like I said, music rooms and schools from ages kindergarten to 8th, grammar schools. So and that's really the whole thing behind the guitar. It's all dedicated to my son.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, email your favorite music store and ask for that guitar.
That'd be really awesome. Or email Music Man. Email Music Man and say, listen, do you carry this guitar? We want this. We want this color guitar.
And I don't want to throw out any sour grapes or anything either, but they can't be confused with the Kramer caution tape.
Oh, you wait, who's that? Rob, did you say that?
Yeah.
How dare you? I believe they took it down.
Did they really?
I mean, oh my God, this thing was such a piece of shit.
I know.
Mean, Kramer should be, first of all, they should be embarrassed. And they're owned by Gibson, which is even sadder, right? But I believe out of respect, because I was really hammering them every day with, piece of shit guitar. All they did was take a guitar, they took a picture of my guitar and slapped it on. It wasn't even a design. It was
ugly too.
It was ugly as sin. And then they have the balls to say our designer for 2021 or 2022 came up with this caution guitar. And I was like, holy shit, and you know what? But I haven't seen it on their site. Not that I looked, but it was brought to my attention from another guitar player who is a collector, and he does so many things online. And he said, Joe, look what I found online. And I was like, oh my God. The last email I sent to both them and Gibson was, I don't care if you want to design the guitar. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I can't trademark colors. I said, however, let's do it right, number one. And number two, I don't want anything from it. Let me help you design it. And then I'll give you I'll sign off on it and send something to the Baby Rocco Foundation.
Right.
It's like, Kramer could do it. Gibson could do it. They have the money. But again, these companies, a lot of these companies, and I got to admit it, guys, and I don't want to be, a shithead, but they don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's like, all these major companies, corporate America really doesn't give a shit. And so, okay, I know it's, at the end of the day, it's the bottom end is the dollar you're going to make with it. But still, it's, have a little respect. I mean, this is a little kid, we're not talking about, this is a little child, that I'm trying to keep his memory alive and do something great because of the situation and to flip it. And so don't take advantage of it. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's not cool at all.
But I don't, anyway, listen, I do, and Rob knows, I'm extremely humbled by people even giving me the opportunity to be on a show like yours, and tell my story. And I know it doesn't affect everybody, right? It's like suicide, that affects everyone. Alcoholism, that affects everyone. Cancer, everyone. Susan and I just got involved with the Metastatic Breast Cancer Society. That's not the correct name, but it's Medivivor, and it's about women who are surviving metastatic breast cancer.
Mhm.
I mean, so Susan has her own causes that she's also going to bring into the public eye. So I just feel there are bigger causes, and that's why I kind of flipped the Baby Rocco Foundation and all the great things they do to having children play musical instruments, because I think that affects everyone. You know what I'm saying? And they can grow up with something. And I know that I've been playing since I was 5-6 years old. And when I lost my mom at 13, I lost myself in my guitar. When my grandmother passed away, I lost myself in the guitar. And my mom did tell me, she said, someday that guitar is going to be your best friend. And when I suffered this tragedy with Rocco, wow, it's my best friend.
Right.
I mean, I have you guys, here talking to me because I play the guitar, and it's just so. She was so right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
the healing power of music. I mean, there's so many different languages. Like sometimes you can't say anything, so you send someone a song.
Exactly.
Say it
Exactly.
in the song, feel it in the song. And, we all met in school to become audio engineers, the three of us here. Okay. So I don't know, man. The new recordings and it not having the imperfections there really bothers me.
I'm with you.
I want to hear the.
I'm with you. My God.
Just leave it.
I'm with you.
Oh, no, don't EQ it. Just leave it.
I say that all the time, and I'm so guilty of the little in the recordings, and they're like, "Oh, we got to get that." I'm like, "Don't you dare!" I'm like, one of my trem bars, one of my Floyd Roses, it needs to be oiled. So before a song, you'll hear it going. They turn on the mics, and it's like. And I'm like, that's a great start to the song. Don't mess with it. And it's like, people are like, we can't keep that. I'm like, yes, we can. I'm like, since when did we say we can't? This is rock and roll,
Oh, yeah.
It's real.
I can understand if I was writing a dance tune and you wanted it to be, but the most beautiful thing about, even with vocalists, right? Susan giggles. So it doesn't matter. We have a live recording that we do this thing on stage together, and I just it's just the way I turned around, I looked at her butt or something, and she just started giggling because of the way I did it, and we left it in the recording. When we were recording with Sony in 26 Records, at the end of her song I heard the radio mix of a song we did, Things You Make Me Do, and the best part is at the end she just starts cracking up, and they took it out of the radio mix, and I'm like going, what are you doing? Put it back in, and thank God, anything that I do, and especially with Susan, we have final creative control, so we're allowed to say, hey, we want that, maybe if we were working with Mutt Lang, we'd probably just listen to him, but but there's certain things they want to take away the human aspect of music, and that's really disturbing. Because I feel that that's all we have left, and when we write music, and like you said, in the studio, we are not digitized. We're not, and I swear to you, Susan doesn't use anything on her voice.
No auto-tune.
No auto-tune whatsoever. And I can honestly say that Scouts Honor, I was never in the Scouts, but I'll still say Scouts Honor. No, we refuse, and we feel that if we can't duplicate it live, then don't put it on the album.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so I'm extremely happy, and I want to take this opportunity just to say something that, so Project Jem, so there was Road Crew, with
Yep.
Don Chaffin and Nick Triani. You left them out of the.
Yeah.
So great. Don Chaffin is one of the best vocalists
He
I've
really
ever heard.
is, yeah.
And he's currently working with Riot Act, and they have an album coming out there. I believe the guitar player is the original guitar player from Riot.
Oh.
And
Yeah, we had Rob on. Right?
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. So so basically, he's amazing. And then we recorded Road Crew material with Billy and Rod. And then, Don got really busy with his projects, and I started working with Susan Aquila. We got signed to Sony 26 Records. We put out her album. And then during that time, I was working on Project Jem and by myself and then Billy and Rod I was sending them stuff, and they finished recording a whole album. We have a whole album with Billy and Rod. And
how did that come about? You guys getting in touch with each other and collaborating?
This is really interesting. After we did the Road Crew thing, right? Billy and I and Rod I've known since 2004. I've worked with Rod in the past in the studio. Nothing to any avail until now, but Billy and I and Rod started just constantly staying in touch. And Billy, while I was working on Susan's album, I was sending the stuff to Billy, just to get his advice. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And then Billy would say, hey, man, send me something else. Let me see what you got. So I would send him something else. He would drop some bass tracks on it. We'd get it back. And then I said, you know what? This is really great. It's really magical. And, we were working on Rocco's Groove thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I worked on another song called Nothing But Time. And then I wrote another song, Earthquake. And I had Billy and Ron on it. And they were like my demo guys. You know what I'm saying? And I figured, let's see where I can go with this. And so make a long story short, that's how that started. Then we were trying
Billy
to get
Sheehan's birthday today.
What's that? It's Billy Sheehan's birthday today. Happy birthday, Billy! Yeah, I texted him earlier today, and he's probably enjoying himself. Billy likes a good bottle of wine, And
cheers.
Yeah, so Road Crew kind of halted a little bit, and Don was doing his other thing. I was working with Susan, and I said, listen, after Susan's album, I wanted to complete the stuff with Rod and Billy. I said, instead of working with vocals and lyrics and all of that, let's just do instrumentals, because that's what they're known for anyway, right? Fusion and some great stuff. And then I got the itch, man. I said, you know what? I want to finish what I started with Road Crew. But since Don isn't part of it, I didn't want to resurrect Road Crew without Don.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to just call what I'm doing now with them Project Jem. And then I had another epiphany, and Susan's just she's training with this vocal coach, Don Lawrence, I believe his name is, and he's all the celebrities, Steven Tyler, he's everyone's coach. And I hope I said the name right. And Susan's just getting better and better. And if anyone has seen Susan perform, I think she's the best performer since David Lee Roth. I mean, the old
very
David
animated.
Lee Roth.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, very animated, yeah.
Yeah, and now I said, listen, but you got to get the flips down. I mean, so then her. And plus, she's a great violinist. So, I mean, right there, I have another instrument. She's a virtuoso. So then I started writing with Susan material, a little harder material than what she's doing. We're doing with Susan Aquila, and I just this week we solidified that Project Jem is going to put out a full album with Billy and Rod, and Eric Levy just gave me the nod, I believe, 2 nights ago at 11:30 at night, that he's in from Night Ranger. So we have Eric Levy, Billy Sheehan, Rod Morgenstein, myself on guitars, Susan Aquila as our lead person rocking it. And it's just going to be, wait till you hear the shit. Because I already have the music recorded, a lot of it. We're doing some more now. And then we just wrote a song called Love Ain't Dirty. And it's going to be just killer. So I'm really excited. And we're looking to do a huge, our first show, hopefully November, December of 2022 with those guys.
Awesome.
I'll be
You
there.
heard it here first.
And I'll be there.
Yeah, you will, definitely. No, it's gonna be killer, man. I mean,
now I can send this to Blabbermouth, and hopefully it'll get the word out.
Listen, yeah, man. Listen, you have. I don't know if you guys have a copy of Rocco's Groove Thing, but that's Project Jem, featuring all of us. Susan's playing violin on it. Man, just throw it out, and you know what? I'll give you the name of the one or two other songs that we've already that we're working on, and yeah, man, put it out in Blabbermouth, and let's see what happens. There's 2 or 3 label interests, major labels. So we'll see what happens if we're going to go independent on it or we're going to sign to a label.
I was thinking of maybe you would be going with Sony, the label with Susan's on.
Listen, this is the very interesting thing about Susan and I, because we do so much together. We purposely try to separate from different.
Entities.
From different managements and labels, and because I'm really trying to work with Warner Brother and Level Records. It's a subsidiary of Warner Brothers that really no one knows about, and but then we also have the other I forgot the label now. They're from Europe that has everybody, and basically, so. There's a few different options, we're going to see what happens. And so we wanted to, whenever Susan and I do a project or I do a project, she does a project, we like to bring new blood into it and try a different angle. Did I lose you guys?
No,
all right.
No, we're just looking at the pictures.
As individuals, we just dislike looking at ourselves. However, but Rob does such a great job, making me look so svelte in those pictures.
Totally. Look at that. That's a badass picture right there.
Thank you. And that's another thing. You got to keep reminding Susan that I'm the better looking one in the project. So. and then my other joke is Billy Sheehan and Susan Aquila, they're my 2 favorite tall blondes.
There you
go. So I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah, I'm drooling over those axes, man. They look pretty killer. I've never had a chance to play one. But...
So this is Project Jem right here.
That's Project Jem. That's Eric Levy, and myself, Susan, Billy, and Rod. Yeah, and that's the logo for Project Jem. And I'm really proud of this. I'm extremely proud of this band, and I'm blessed to be playing with them.
Yeah. No, they're blessed to be playing with you. Don't sell yourself short.
I really appreciate that.
Does Billy ever get tired?
Okay.
I don't think so.
Like that dude is a monster. Just holy moly, does he have some output that's just amazing?
You
know what? Let me explain something about Billy and Rod. Okay, and Billy, they're both kids at heart. I mean, they're in their 60s. I think Billy turned 68 today, and you would never think of it. The way they move, right. The way they play, the way they speak, and the energy that they have is so impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question, to answer your question from what I know, not speaking for anyone, Billy's like, I want to do this forever, man.
Oh yeah.
So I guess that answer is no. Yeah. He never gets tired. And Rod the same thing. Rod still is out on the road with Winger all the time. Billy's doing his thing with all his bands and stuff. So, and that's it. And I don't know how old Eric is. It doesn't really matter. But it's Eric is still touring all the time. So it's
really cool to see, because there's a whole, there's that generation of players.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That are literally working musicians. Like, it's a different thing.
Yes.
We're not going to every 6 years we'll go out for 3 months, cash in, and
Exactly. No. They do what they do. I mean, they do the tours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
they want to create new music,
Right.
and see, and Rob knows, you know, I'm a stickler for writing music. You know, and I believe there's a place for cover music. You know, there's a place for tribute music.
Right.
However, that cannot take over writing music.
Right.
And that's something that I fight for every single day. It's like, listen, I respect the musicians that are doing it. It's pretty hard to do that stuff. Listen, it's hard work. You know, you got to learn everything. You got to, you cannot suck at it. I mean, you have to be a good musician, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, however, I just don't feel that that should be the focus on the music scenes across the United States of America or Europe. It should still be original music.
Right.
And you know, and that's why I refuse to be in that scene as a I don't mind playing covers. I mean, every musician plays covers.
Right.
However, you know, I still have it in me to write music. I write every single day. I produce music, and I truly love working with new artists that are writing music. And you know, and I feel bad because unless you're working with the guys that I'm working with and the ladies that I'm working with, there's no place for you to play.
Right.
You know, like no one cares.
Yeah.
And that's strange that bars and nightclubs are like that.
Yeah, it's hard. And I understand, again, it's the bottom dollar, right? You got, they got to make money. But for me, it's like, well, why don't you put, a great tribute band and bring in an original band to open for them. And, they're starting to try it now, but, nobody cares. It's like, well, they don't draw. They don't do this. They don't.
I know,
these guys just want to play.
Right.
I mean, how can they draw if they never go out there and play?
Right.
Exactly. And there's there's the big conversation, and because I have buddies who have bands who play original music, but they put out a CD, they do 3 shows.
Yeah.
Like, well, how are you gonna?
Yeah. Well, I started TikTokRock.com. And just on Rocco's birthday on the 16th. And what I did is I put a compilation album together of about 10 local bands. And, I have a song from Road Crew on there, of course, and so on, just to pump
Emerald
up
Rising.
So, in TikTok Rock, we sell singles of each band for $2.99. $1 goes directly to the band. So technically, it's a nice way to promote the.
Did you say a
music.
third?
You mean it, not pennies?
What?
No, exactly. That's the point. And believe it or not, TikTok Rock is what we do is the $1.99 that's left over really isn't, because we're paying taxes on the $2.99, right? Yeah. We're paying 2.3% to PayPal or whatever the credit card company, whatever they take, plus 30 cents per transaction. Right, all right. This is the fees that we have to pay on $2.99.
Right.
So it's like totally ridiculous, right? Yeah. And plus the maintenance of the site. So and then I'm still trying to pull some money out of there to donate to the Baby Rocco Foundation, right? And however, it's all original music. We have a page that features videos. So we have like the great Jordan Kanata on there and stuff like that.
He's an amazing drummer.
Amazing drummer. So what we do, in a way, it's a way for the original bands. It's like their own major club. It's right. And then we're trying to get bands from around the world that are playing, original music of all genres. Okay. Whether it's heavy metal, whether it's country, and we'll present their single. I mean, each song, we don't sell albums, we sell each song. So it's easier to keep track of and everything. And And that's it. They load up what they want, and we're doing extremely well.
Good.
In the first 48 hours, I think I was up to like $3,800.
Wow.
People are actually, because bands are sending their volume of fans
Right.
to the site.
Yeah.
And then you see one band and say, "Oh man, look at this shit! This band's on there. I want to."
Yeah, you get the splash effect.
Exactly. So you know what? So and now I just started a thing where the first 2,500 downloads from band, TikTok will pay them an extra $1,000. So not only are they getting the $2,500 from their downloads, they're going to get it's like a competition. We're going to pay out another $1,000. So it's like a $3,500 payday. I can't tell you the last time it cost me like $5,000 to $8,000 to put on a show.
Right.
I'm not getting that money back at the end of the day, right? So so I can't tell you the last time these bands probably even thought about anything over $200 or $100. Right. So to get $3,500 for people buying your song that you wrote, I think is an amazing feat.
Oh, for sure. And it kind of reminds me of the back in the day where you get the percentage of the door.
Yeah.
If you knew you'd get a percentage of the door, you marketed the hell out of your show so you'd make
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I totally believe in that. And however, I gotta really admit, I see, because of the push that especially last couple of years that I've been doing, I'm seeing a turnaround. I'm seeing a comeback. I'm seeing a response to original music. I'm seeing bands, we need an organization to work together to promote great music.
Right.
And listen, I took a lot of shit, from my colleagues, from my friends, saying, "Hey, you know what? Don't knock the tribute and the covers." And I said, "I'm not." I said, but let's not forget about, the little guy, the guy that's writing the music every day. I mean, and as musicians, it doesn't matter what we're playing. We should all support each other. Yeah. And it's coming. I mean, it's coming back around. I made amends, with a lot of people, by just saying, "Hey, man, I'm not doing this. This is not personal." Right. And this is where I have to now. This is the beautiful thing. And this week, I have Baby Rocco to thank, right? And he reminds me. He's like, "Dad, this is not about you." This is about spreading the word, of being, of helping people. It's not about your personal opinion on things.
Right. And most people don't know about traumatic brain injury unless they've been involved with someone who's had traumatic brain injury.
Exactly. And so this week was a very, very uplifting week for me, and people, the way they respond to the Baby Rocco Foundation and Rock for Rocco, and just doing this and having some fun with you guys,
Oh yeah.
It's really what it's about.
Well, hey, here's to Rocco.
Cheers to Rocco. Thank you. And everything else will come, will find its way. And yeah, that's it. So my musical goals, they're more to they're just to bring original music and all these artists, starving artists, to the forefront, to let them, because it's very difficult. It's demoralizing too. You go out there as an artist and you play in front of one person. It does a little bit. It hurts you a little bit. It does a little bit to your ego. And it just but it's demoralizing. Right. So I feel for those people because I've been there. I've done it.
Yeah, it's like with Vaudeville Press, the publishing company I have. I'm bringing on people like you keep all your rights.
Yep.
I take a percentage. I help you market it. You still got to do some work too, and like help with everyone else out with their thing.
Right.
But I'll protect you and I'll negotiate the rights that'll make you money.
Right, exactly. I mean, licensing. There's such a big thing with licensing, right?
Yeah.
There's Susan and I have the song called, which is on. I think, well, it's not on TikTok yet. It's on iTunes. Called "Peace and Love." We wrote it. The record company called us, and this is the funny thing. This is how record companies work, right? We get a call. It was like a Thursday, Friday afternoon. They're like, oh, it was in the middle of the riots, in the middle of COVID. I don't know if it was the riots in Minnesota, but it was during, that time.
Portland?
Probably, yeah. And they said, listen, we need a song for this by Sunday. So I'm like, I came up with it like that because thank God I'm blessed. I just, say, hey, Rock, what, got any ideas?
Right.
I mean, a little far-fetched, but technically, internally, that's how I look at things, right? Yeah. And boom, me and Susan put it together. We go in the studio, we record it, we get it out there. We call Ringo Starr because we're like, hey, listen, peace and love. However, the peace and love thing for Ringo wasn't a good thing, when he was on there and he was bitching that he's not going to sign autographs anymore. And there was this video of him on YouTube saying, peace and love, right? So the record company, our management, they're like, oh, Susan Aquila, Joey Jem, they wrote this song, Peace and Love. We want you to do the preamble on it. I'm Ringo Starr, peace and love, peace and love. Anyway, he's like, fuck you. That's what he came back with. He's like, fuck you, I'm not doing it. Peace and love, So anyway, but we did all this thing, we put it together, we recorded in days. The song is awesome. And nothing. Then we go to Coca-Cola. We're like, we did a whole I'll send it to Rob. So, a whole thing with Coca-Cola. We did what is it called? A reel, spin reel, whatever it's called, right? Mm-hmm. And, peace and love, great, nothing. Then we get a call from you can't make this shit up. We get a call from, Ronnie Hooks. He was the guy from Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yeah.
And he he also is partners at 26 Records and all this other stuff. I got Pepsi Cola interested. Susan and I go out. We do another sizzle reel. That's what it's called, sizzle reel for Pepsi Cola. Said it. Nothing. It's like they hang this little thing out there. You know what I mean? And and as musicians, we jump, right? But we do a good job at it, and nothing comes of it. So again, my point is though, licensing very important. All we need, forget about the record deals. If we could get a license with Coca-Cola with the song "Peace and Love," with now what's going on with the Ukraine and all this other stuff. I mean, listen, it's a great song. It has a message, and and Rob, I will send the song probably, right?
Yeah.
But I'll send it to you.
Who does the vocals on that track?
What's that?
Who does the vocals on
Susan?
that?
It's all Susan.
Well, just have like D. Snyder do some background vocals since he's
and you're right. Well, we're putting together. Yeah, again. So the thing, like as I said though, is like what, it's just you need people. As an artist, we can only do so much.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to the day where I can just work with these great musicians, write some great stuff, and have our team do what they need to do. Mm-hmm. And all I want to hear is, Joe, we need another dozen songs. When can you get it to us? You know what I'm saying? Right. And this way, because I'm okay with working with Billy and Rod and writing, a dozen songs a month if I have to, good songs, and getting them recorded.
Right.
It's just hard to the follow through in the past since 2004. I would say 2005 has been very difficult for the industry. Yeah. They've lost their edge. And that's really where what I think the industry needs again. And that's why something like what you're doing with the publishing, what I'm doing with TikTok Rock, it's focusing in on the artist.
Yeah, the writer comes first.
Right. And there's no reason why record companies, like all the big boys, can't come and use a facility like TikTok Rock. Doesn't mean they have to use my facility or the facility I'm involved in, but say, okay, well, we're Columbia Records for whatever. We're only gonna put our artists on TikTok Rock. That's it. So if you want to hear, you know what I'm saying, this person's music, that's where you go. That's where you buy it. It'll immediately cut out Apple and all these people that are giving your music away technically for free. You know what I'm saying? I get my card charged $9 a month from Apple, because you could get whatever you want whenever you want it. However, that's not beneficial.
Right.
It doesn't. And then the young artists, like all of us, young artists mean new material. We think because we're on iTunes and everything else that's out there, that people are going to hear us. They're not going to hear us, because unless you punch in specifically, Joey Jem or Susan Aquila or whatever, you're not going to come up in any kind of rotation. Okay, so it's better off that if it's the same difference. You Google Susan Aquila and it takes you to TikTok Rock, and that's the only place you can buy it. And you really want to buy it for whatever reason, you're going to buy it. And if you had the push of the record companies, that's what they're going to go to. So, I haven't figured out up here. It's just how do we make the world understand it? So I'm with you guys, man. Like I'm just totally an entrepreneur by heart, and and a musician, and I want to do the best I can for music.
Absolutely. And because people don't understand who just consume things, and then they're always, the writer and the creator always get screwed. They're always. Like last person to get paid. Like you create something, okay, television, okay, you're entitled to 4%.
Right.
What?
Yeah. And you put your blood into it.
Right. And then if you're a producer, you get another 5 points, maybe, if you're lucky, and you can negotiate it right, or they just steamroll over you. Like, hypothetically, had I created one of the longest running reality shows that ran on MTV that was stolen from a company that just happened to be named exactly of my company and my creation, and it ran for 17 years, and Viacom crushed me.
Right.
There's no,
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
But otherwise, if that had worked out, we'd be in a nice, more comfortable studio, all of us right now.
You're absolutely. You guys are absolutely
these people
right.
are going to come up with these great stories, and they may not be versed in what's going on. Well, I'll protect your story and protect you, just right.
Right. Exactly. And
numbers.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
But that's a secret to my to me making a small, very small impact with these great musicians, because if they ever need a hook or they need a tune, my phone rings and they're like, "Hey, Joe," and you know what I charge like $500, for a tune or whatever with the big boys, right? And whether they use it or not, I don't care, and the thing is, I get the phone calls that we need an extra tune. What do you have? Can we submit? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that keeps me in the loop. The other thing that I really realize when it comes down to working and writing music, you have to continuously have your finger on the pulse of what's happening. Right. And you also have to understand that you're not writing only for yourself. You always have to focus in on I hate using the word consumer, but you have to focus in on the consumer. You have to write something that people will understand. Okay. For me to write about a topic, unless I'm Pink Floyd or, it's not going to help the situation. Right. So musically, you can be as creative as you want. You can go off on little tangents in the middle of the song. But lyrically, you have to kind of connect with an audience.
Right.
You have to make them feel something. You have, and that's the thing that also many artists forget. I mean, they want to sing about, they want to go off on a tangent. I mean, I've heard things that have been sent to me where I'm going, what does any of this mean? and I can understand if it's something deep within you, the message will come through. And Billy Sheehan told me, this is when we throw music back and forth. I sent him a song. I said, what do you think of the mix and on this? He goes, Joe, he goes, a bad mix is not going to kill a great song.
Right.
Okay. So what he was telling me is a great song is a great song. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A bad song is a bad song. So a great mix is not going to make a bad song good.
Right. If you paint a turd gold, it's still a turd.
Exactly. So exactly. And that's what, and that's the same thing with music.
Yeah.
So I'm happy, blessed.
It's the attempt.
Exactly.
People are like, oh, he wrote a bad song. Well, yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah,
you don't know until it comes out or how.
Oh, you don't know. I mean, but if your intent is to write a bad song,
right, and you're trying to get as close.
Then just keep it to yourself. I mean, I'm sorry.
You're trying to get as close as you can as you hear it in your head.
Exactly.
Others hear it that way, and sometimes it doesn't.
I'm working on some stuff on personal. It's called Joey Jem. Period. And it's the funniest shit. That I mean, literally, I don't sing. I'm not a singer. So I went into the studio, wrote 3 songs, and with a monotone voice. Literally, it's like dance, baby, dance.
Are you tone deaf?
Come on, right? And with amazing harmonies. I have Susan Aquila back there going, "Come on, baby," like 10 of her, and it's the music is tight. It's good music, right?
Uh-huh.
And I let people in the industry hear it, and in Nashville, and they're like, "Who is this guy? I want to sign him." And I'm fucking rolling. I'm like, it's the worst shit vocally that you'll ever hear in your life. And I'm going to release this, Rob. I'm going to release this because it's just too funny not to release.
Absolutely.
Okay? So then I got this whole thing where it's going to be like, then I was just telling somebody yesterday, I said, I'm going to do, once you hear the character, you'll get it, how funny it is. It'll be like Joey Jem doing the best of Billy Joel. It's like, it's just like, and just Billy Joel music right out, great stuff. But, me just being in this monotone, ridiculous voice. But as someone in Nashville said, or in the Motown record range there, so higher ups, there's something different about it. And so I was like, okay, you know what? You guys could fact check me on this. Is Snoop Dogg's name like Eugene or something?
Not sure.
Well, I'll tell you the story. So this
not a fan. I don't know.
Well, this stuff. I'm like, listen. I said, I can see Snoop Dogg doing it, right? And so
Calvin Cardoza Brodius Jr.
What is it?
There you go.
Calvin Cardoza.
That's it, Calvin. So the guy goes to me, big black
just rolls off the tongue.
He goes to me. Oh, who are you talking about? He goes,
great, man.
You want Calvin to listen to this? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right. So I get a text yesterday. He goes, listen, Calvin's going to give me a call. Let's send the tracks to him. Because I said, it's like something Calvin. I'm like, Snoop, Yeah. But the funny thing is, people that would not listen, I could say, hey, look at this stuff. I got, whoever on it, Eddie Van Halen, came back from the dead and played this track. Rock and roll people wouldn't even listen to it. They're like, whatever. Then I have this foolish thing that I'm working on, which is musically great. Okay. I mean, just because I couldn't do 2 bad things. So, and now I have someone of that level, regardless whether we like him or not, or respect him for what he does. That's his people are willing to listen to it. Yeah. So again,
Snoop's huge, and he just bought his own record label. So
Def Jam.
He's under Def Jam. Yeah.
He's set up.
Yeah, well, listen, I think with the whole Martha Stewart thing, I mean, sometimes he's just a genius what he does. Whether
that guy is,
dude. Do you think he's
amazing.
tapping her?
Was that?
You think he's tapping her?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Listen, it's like that's a far. That's not even a fantasy. That's like That's like a nightmare.
Martha Stewart. Custom frosting.
She looks good. She looks good. I mean, listen, So that brings on a whole new meaning to Blacks on Blondes. Okay, let's just leave it alone on that one. But yeah, she's. But listen, the marketing strategy there is just amazing. Yeah. But
back when they dropped the ball, the music industry, right around the turn of the century.
Yeah, I know.
We were working on this thing, and I think I told this story once before, but so we're working on this thing, and it was basically if you had a 28.8 internet connection, you could jam over the phone lines via the internet.
Right.
And because I was jamming with my buddy over the phone from Chicago to LA.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't we just do this on the web?
Right.
And that whole thing happened, Then that broke. Next day, I meet this guy at a thing. He starts explaining part of it. I explain the rest of it. He's like, holy shit, you want a job? So I got a job doing the same thing. And it took 18 months to get this
technology.
Well, no, not the technology. Well, it did take technology too, but to get this meeting with the VP of Sony Music.
Right.
So we had G3.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. So the first thing that we did, it was in Sheffield, England, and Vegas. And so Herbie Hancock was in Vegas and his band was in Sheffield, England. And like the concept was to take one band and you could play multiple dates at the same time.
Wow.
Double your money, triple your money.
Yeah.
College bands, if you got 4 guys, you're in 4 different things doing a show, and the rest of your band's on the screen behind you.
Right.
And then you could take, lessons and this whole thing. Like, so if you wanted to learn from Eddie Van Halen, he'd have 20. If you wanted to learn from Billy Sheehan, Right. So we have G3 doing the thing in the building. And so they're in 3 different studios. So we have Steve, Eric, and Joe, and they're doing the thing. And it works perfectly. We're like, yes, because the technology then was so spotty.
Right, yeah.
And it was like stacked kind of on a MIDI signal.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a little latency, little, not perfect, but,
right.
And so the VP of music at Sony, who's like 73, dude,
he didn't get it.
You should be like between 40 and 45 as a CEO of a music company.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, something that big.
Yeah.
Is that John Hammond?
Yeah. So he looks at us and he goes, that's awesome. How do you win? Like, totally didn't get any.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, he didn't get it. Yeah.
So we just like packed up. We were like, 18 months prepping for this thing. And he's like, how do we win the game?
Yeah. No,
and that's why the music industry died, because you had people who didn't understand what's going on, not connected to it, like you said.
You're so right. And, and the thing is, we have to, listen, we're having this conversation, but you never know. Right. I think the record companies, what they need to do is they need to, instead of having all these streaming platforms, we need to have 1 or 2 again.
Right.
And you need to, so basically, now all the record companies are together anyway, but let's just now Warner has a glance.
And the other thing too is they can't hide anymore. There's no packaging. There's no shipping.
Right.
There's none of that.
However, if they just went in, instead of giving the shit away, like they say, like, like when Napster started and all that other stuff, people, there's a way to, another thing. Like YouTube. So basically, and I'm guilty of it now with Rocco's Groove Thing. I put Rocco's Groove Thing on TikTok Rock.
Mm-hmm.
We made $3,000 in two days. Okay, selling one song for $9.99. However, listen, I have big players on it. People know that the proceeds are going to charity, so we have that little plus, right? That push. Right. Okay, but we still did it. And I did not let anybody, I let them hear clips of the song somewhere else, not on TikTok Rock.
Mm-hmm.
So there again is supply and demand. You know, if the record companies start, and I hate using the word control, I just don't know the proper word, but if they could funnel their music and say, hey, we have this site where you can purchase the music, period. We're not releasing it on iTunes. We're not releasing it on any other streaming thing. People will go there to buy it. Okay. Once it gets out, again, you're right. Do we have control over it? However, that's where the laws need to change a little bit. But I can't sit here and have a whole conversation, in 5 minutes about advocating, musicians' right laws. But the point is, we can protect ourselves. I mean, shit. There's ways of blocking out things that should not be on the internet. Okay, and maybe we have to get Visa involved. Maybe we have to get American Express involved. Maybe we have to get MasterCard involved, or Discover and all those, saying, well, you cannot use. We will not accept these funds on our sites. You know what I'm saying? There's ways of doing it. Where the card system says you cannot use our card on your site if you're streaming or selling music that you don't own. Okay. And how I know it's possible, when Susan and I, what is that, TuneCore or one of those things, our music was brought up on that stuff, right? Our album. Even though I wrote the music with Susan and we have the publishing rights, I could not do anything because Sony was in charge of it.
Oh, wow. Okay,
so even though so it was our music, I forgot if it was TuneCore or one of those things. It's orange. What is the orange screen? I forgot what it was. Their legal department could do anything for me. 26 Records couldn't do anything because Sony was the distributor of the music. So what I'm trying to say is there are ways that they can control where the music is going and where they can make money and the artist makes money.
Right.
Okay. And that's truly something, again, big conversation to have, on a right now, but that's what the concept was behind TikTok Rock for me. I said, listen, you know what? Bring in the bands, upload your stuff. Right. We'll have it there. The money goes directly to you after the sales. You want to do it monthly, weekly, whatever it is.
And it's not rocket science, man. Fairness.
It isn't. It is, and it's working. I mean, so these bands will be making $300, $400, $500 a week. Okay, selling their music. Where before they were, a friend of mine said, "Oh man, we're like on CD Baby plus blah blah blah," and we're up to. We're like 250,000 downloads.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, how much we made? We just got a check for $300.
Right.
I'm like, how's that even possible?
Right. Yeah.
I don't think there's what are they doing? Fractions of cents?
Right.
I'm like,
and everyone knows who's a musician or, writer or a filmmaker, that it costs money and you're not going to make all the That's not realistic.
No, we know that. Right.
But fairness.
Right. But it shows how grossly it swung the other way, though. I mean, that's really
just being people are like, that's a great idea. It's like, dude, it's just fairness.
Yeah. Exactly.
And people are used to it's so blatant now. You're like, yeah, we're gonna fuck you.
Exactly. But the funny thing is, and you and I know, and everybody else knows, that the sites don't give a flying shit about your 250,000 downloads. What they give a shit about is the amount of people that are coming to their site so they can sell advertising on their site. Yeah. So actually they're making money. It's just like YouTube, right?
Right.
Yeah. These people are putting on their personal stuff and their music and everything. Fucking YouTube's making killer money at selling advertising based on your hits.
Yeah, like if we were getting 25,000 downloads per episode of this podcast, we would have to make like 60 million downloads per month to equal the money that would come.
We can do it.
Do it, man.
I'm banking. The video is just kind of a courtesy because I'm banking on the audio podcast.
Right.
Now, Joey, how does that work with the record label though? Do they have any say in regards to TikTok Rock? If you're
Well,
making,
okay. So this is this. So let's take. We're going to use a label like Frontiers, right?
Mhm.
That's signing everybody right now. They would be. I would say I would have a deal with Frontiers. So basically, like the label needs to make money, right? The band makes money, and Frontiers gives TikTok the exclusive right. So
Okay.
technically, they'll make more, and they're doing the advertising like they do now.
So the record company's action doesn't come out of the dollar the band gets?
No.
Okay.
No. Because we'll work it out where, TikTok makes less. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And the label or the band, at that situation, if you have a label, like, because this is mostly independent artists right now, right? So, maybe the band will make 50 cents or 75 cents instead of $1. But still, I mean, if you sell, like we did years ago, 1 million copies, that's $1 million.
Yeah.
And remember, we're talking per song. And then you can have, with the labels, we can do a special, not a special. If you want to buy the album, you get to buy either a CD or a vinyl, at $15 instead of $2.99 per song, right?
Right.
So remember years ago, there used to be a limit. Technically, you would have to have a minimum of 9 to 15 or 14 songs on an album, right? It was like, with a 10 songs minimal. EPs would be just per song. Listen, the logistics would have to be worked out. However, we can sell a full vinyl album if we want back. Again, have vinyl albums in stock that you can go to TikTok Rock, buy the album, you get a $15, $16 album instead of $30. Now they're selling vinyl for $30.
I know they are.
So listen, it's all up to the will of the hierarchy, okay, to make this happen faster. Right now, you're talking about one guy working out of his house saying, I'm going to make a difference. You know what I'm saying? But Amazon started in a garage, right?
Yeah.
He was selling books. So, this is not, I mean, if you go to Canada, there's a company called Sunrise Records. And
I've heard of them.
Because you've probably heard them from me because I've been promoted because I had Susan stuff in there, and they're located out of Hamilton, Ontario. Yeah. They have 500 stores or something throughout Canada. They bought all the HMVs or whatever. What was the last record store that we existed in the world?
Sam Goody.
No, not Sam Goody. It was like HMV. HV, one of those, HMV, So they bought all the stores out of North America. And all the malls across Canada have stores, Sunrise Records, just like the old days.
Yeah.
Vinyl,
right?
Cassettes, CDs, T-shirts, posters of bands.
Yep.
And they're making a killing. Independently owned company.
Yeah.
They're now moving into the UK. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, there's still a market, and when in Canada, I've been going back and forth for 15 years. That store's always existed. Sunrise Records has always existed. Okay, so they started in 1977. Like a Sam Goody. So why can't we do that in the States? Why can't we do that in the world, around the world? Yeah. So listen, it's there's a market for this stuff. I mean, even though we're so used to the downloads, and which is fine, and I'm not, saying this, we didn't make progress, but the progress destroyed the artist.
Well, and Joey too. I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff. I drive trucks, so I'm always hours and hours a day, and every interview I listen to, big guitar players and artists. I mean, they're all really sick of the deals they get with the streaming shit, So I mean, if somebody like you that gets the platform, you get the details worked out. I mean, it probably like a groundswell. Everybody would be on board, as far as from the artist side.
I agree.
And the fans are going to follow. They're going to go where the music goes. And like
I agree.
It'll be like a transition. It might be a little bitching and moaning, but
I agree.
We did it back in the day, right? I mean, we bought our albums
Yeah, and
So
and I feel bad for the kids that can't do it. I mean, it's
yeah.
like today they're just relying on what they're being fed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, and I don't disrespect any artists, but just look at the halftime Super Bowl show, last few years. I mean, right there says everything. And I'm not talking about black artists, they, rap, and that's not what I'm saying. It's just,
Mainstream.
it's just not, it's not what it was.
No, it's all like pop, just like pop and really commercial,
Yeah.
like packaged for
Yeah.
you kind of
It's so,
stuff.
I mean, listen, it's whether you like him or not. I mean, I heard an interview with Bon Jovi where he just said he could never work it out with the Super Bowl people for
I
whatever
love
reason.
Bon Jovi.
What's that?
I love Bon Jovi.
Listen, yeah, he's a great artist. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like Bon Jovi, but he said he could just never work it out. So, it is what it is. I mean, look, I still remember Aerosmith. I mean, that was great. I mean,
That was, yep.
even Shakira. I was like, okay,
Tom Petty was
this is
great.
cool.
Prince was amazing.
Oh,
Who,
yeah.
Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these are showmen, right?
Absolutely.
They're showmen, and and that's the other thing. Like, I want to go see a rock band, like the old the Van Halens and the things like that, and that put on a show.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
It
like
was the whole package, man. It was
man.
Yeah.
Kiss is still doing it because they have a show.
Yeah.
You go see a show. It's like it's
Theatrics.
yeah, and I'm just tired of the whole, going up there just playing, to what la 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 la, and and expecting people to love you because your music's so great.
No, you got to work for it, man.
No,
So
you got,
are you and Billy and Rod working on your makeup then?
you're really funny because I said that to Susan today. I said, I don't give a shit if we gotta wear costumes, we gotta give people a show. And she's just like crazy, she's like, you're fucking crazy. It's like, but I gotta say this, and she'll probably watch this later and yell at me, but I want her to bring back David Lee Roth's assless pants. I said, Susan, you just gotta wear, you either wear chaps.
Here tonight.
I said, you gotta either wear chaps with no undies. I said, you just gotta wear the fucking leather pants with the assless, with your ass sticking out. And
hey, let's start a petition.
And the funny thing is,
sacrifice for your art.
You know what? The funny thing is, she goes, I do that. Like that's funny. She goes, so.
Little does anyone know, I'm wearing assless chaps on every episode.
Yeah, we know.
Listen. Hey, it is what it is. But we do,
drop something.
But it's really funny because we do have, like the conversation, from the artistry point where she's like, she's like, well, how about if I said to you, take off your pants? And I'm like, okay.
Like I thought you
I don't
never
know
asked.
why anybody would want to see that. But I mean, like, if that's what it takes, it's like, it's just so funny. But it's like, why? Because people deserve a show.
Mhm.
Whether and it doesn't have to be of the sexual nature, but they deserve a show.
Because people say a lot about me and Rob did we did a podcast about the Van Halen six pack and then Van Halen with Sammy Hagar.
Yeah,
and people can say whatever they want. Oh, Roth doesn't this, dude. Are you in that good of shape? And dude, the guy. Fucking zero body fat. He's a fucking performer. He's an athlete.
Right.
And sure, he smokes and has done blow for fucking 40 years.
But he can still do it.
Greatest frontman of all time, in my opinion.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
And, people are like giving him shit. I'm like, he's not singing the track. You guys are used to mimicry.
Yeah. Exactly.
Versus, so for instance, my ex-wife was a big Bon Jovi fan. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, I get it. I said, but you never saw Van Halen with David Lee Roth.
Right.
That's a whole nother fucking thing.
Yeah.
So then it was the heavyweight tour with Sammy and Dave.
Right.
So, first show was in Chicago. Right. So we go, Dave headlines. And after she's like, oh, totally, I get it.
Right. Exactly.
The guy just puts on a fucking show My son's first show, both of them.
Right.
Seth was 3, TJ was 7.
Right.
David Lee Roth, 3 days after his knee surgery.
He killed. Yeah.
Hey, and I'm
Dude, he's
gonna
not canceling because he broke a nail or broke his finger.
Right.
He slices his nose open live on the Kimmel show.
Yeah, I know. I remember that. Yeah.
And you know, hey,
that would have
the
been
price of concert tickets nowadays. We should get a show for like $200,
Yeah, no kidding.
$300 or whatever.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have, like, listen, I'm putting this big show together, hopefully December, with these guys, and we're gonna make the announcements and stuff, and we'd love to have you involved somehow.
Hell yeah,
and you know what? And I'll get you all the details, and you could put it out to Blabbermouth or whatever you want. At least with the album, I'll give you whatever you need from me. Okay. And the thing is, you know what, we're going to try to, take 8 months to make some noise. And, that's going to be, I'm trying to, off the record, this is totally, people watching it, but it's still off the record. I'm trying to so I would love to have Zebra, the full band, I would love to have Joan Jett and Project Jem as a triple bill on some of the shows.
Dude, I've seen Joan Jett 15 times, man.
Yeah, I love Joan, and
Didn't you got to tell Joey the story of Seth?
Oh, dude, great story.
Go ahead, tell me.
Okay, so Seth, it's like his 10th birthday. Loves Joan Jett.
Right.
Fucking loves Joan Jett. So there's just 2 dates. I'm like, okay, they're playing in Joliet, and then they're playing at Boys Town, which is what the nickname is for Halstead Street Days, which is the gay community.
Okay.
Right. And we're like, okay, whatever. So it's pouring rain. And I'm like, dude, Joliet's total redneck fuckingville.
Yeah.
It's going to be muddy. It's fucking raining. Drunk people, rednecks. I'm like, dude, if you were 15, I'd take you for the rock and roll moment.
Right.
But you're 10.
Right.
I'm like, they're playing over there. I said, our buddies, Jimmy and Denny. He's like, yeah. I said, well, it's kind of like a community of all people like that. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Not a big conversation.
Yeah.
So we go there, and automatically, because, I'm a weird magnet. So automatically we're like rush, hey,
look at me and Jason.
We're in front row, right? And he's the only kid out of like 50,000 people at this event. It's big street fair. One kid. It's like, what do you,
Yeah, because nobody
into the world, man. Fucking,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're having a great time. So I put him up on my shoulders for just one song, so Joan could see his hat that he made said, "I love Joan Jett."
Right.
Someone fucking whips a fucking water bottle at his head.
Oh.
Hits him, right? Dude, have you ever heard 5,000 people hiss?
Can imagine.
At the same time, it was
Right.
like,
Right.
dude, the crowd kicked her out.
Right.
That was hilarious. So then took him off the shoulders at the end of the when the encore came. Security's like, "Hey, hand me your kid." I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "I'm gonna put him up on stage."
Oh, awesome.
I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" I'm like, "Seth, don't worry," and I hand him over,
Yeah.
and he got to sit on stage
with Joan
for the whole encore of Joan.
That's
Jett.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
see,
I love Joan.
Yeah, that's just we it's really interesting. Rob, you were at the last show, right, Rob?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. Where the blonde kid.
Oh yeah,
came on stage. So that was he was from Philadelphia with his parents.
Yeah,
that was Susan's godson. He's never seen her play or anything like that. And
we have a picture.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. It was his birthday, so I got him the guitar. The kid is now he practices guitar. He's going for guitar lessons. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah. So moments like that is what music is about.
Oh, absolutely.
We single-handedly changed that kid's life.
Absolutely.
Meaning he has a good life anyway, but he now plays guitar. He plays the air guitar. He has his home concerts, everything that we did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's when I hear stories like that, it makes me extremely happy.
Yeah, because when you see that moment of the influence hit.
Yeah, it was there.
You know what I mean?
That's it. We changed his life forever. Your son's life was changed forever. So, I mean, and again, musicians today, don't, and I'm not saying that all of them, please.
Sure.
But the old timers, they still get it because it's like they went through this. I mean, there's only one Rolling Stones.
Right.
There's only one Aerosmith. There's only one Led Zeppelin. There's only one Sammy Hagar with Van Halen and David Lee Roth with Van Halen.
But there's like 20 Kiss.
There's 20 Kiss. There's one. It's like, but we get what we're saying here. I mean, it's just, I want to bring again. We all want to bring that back, and what I'm getting from industry and non-industry, it's not the same. Those days are over. It's like, it's like almost like the Ukrainians giving up right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, man, you got to keep fucking fighting.
Absolutely.
Whether we're not going to get into politics, but it's like, you don't hear any of them say, nah, it's over.
But that's the whole thing about, if you look at it from a rock and roll perspective, of course, that's what it is. And the rock and roll attitude is to fight against it. Fuck off. We're doing it anyway.
Right. And keep fighting.
Yeah.
And Rob knows, man. Rob, listen, the Long Island scene isn't that great.
And it used to be killer, right? Back in the day. I mean,
well, all great players came out of there.
Yeah, they're dead. They're. I mean, I'm learning how many Long Island musicians there really are. I was just like, wow.
Oh yeah.
But we had the clubs back then too. I mean, Spit. All these great places. Then we had even New York itself. We had all the Lemoore's clubs. We had the Cat Club, the China Club. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, and they were, nobody was doing covers.
Yeah.
That was all original, so, and those places were packed. I mean, I opened for Steve Vai in 91. Larry Mitchell. I don't know if you guys know Larry Mitchell. I mean, Larry Mitchell used to come to my birthday parties and play, and we used to play, I mean, like, it was a scene of camaraderie of musicians. And today it's a different camaraderie. It's still a camaraderie of musicians, but where's the real support? And the people aren't there. I'm not even talking about the musicians. I'm talking about the people.
Is there a scene anymore?
Yeah, and and we can't blame it on COVID, because I'm talking about before COVID. It was
right.
So it's but again, little by little, I think that we're fighting to bring it back. But until we make some more noise, it's going to be a struggle.
Like what I saw here in Chicago right before COVID hit was live music was now everywhere.
Right.
And sure, a lot of it's covers, but but not all.
No. I mean, listen.
The fact that everyone was getting great sound systems. They had lighting, a proper stage.
Yeah.
So at least players could go out and play.
Right.
And like my, musician friends who play in originals and they're kind of frustrated, but they could play more.
Right.
But they choose not to. I'm like, well, dude, are you a musician? Because if you want to be a working musician, you can always do cover shows. It'll pay you. That's what you want.
Right.
You want to make money being a musician, you're going to have to do that at your level today.
Exactly.
Not your level, but you know what I mean? There's local guys.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And you just the cliches, don't give up. Right. But you can't give up. You can't, the shows that, regardless whether it's a road crew show or a Project Jem show or Susan Aquila show. And again, I'm glad that Rob's with us, because listen, man, I bring in my own lights, right? I bring in crew. I bring in my own sound people,
right?
Full crew. I bring in, everything. I mean, everything. And Rob, for that show there, because that venue doesn't have a big stage, I brought in my own stage crew. They they gave Susan the catwalk.
Yeah.
And it's just something. And it's like, so Susan and I hit the stage with a $3,500 base cost just to get on stage.
Wow.
We spend anywhere up to $5,000 plus per show. I mean, we're putting on, a show that any major band. That's why I'd rather do it now at Huntington at the Paramount. That's who I'm talking to, and bring in the big guns there and spend the money and sell out the place with Zebra and hopefully Joan Jett and things like that, where at least I'll recoup my expenses.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And play to 1,500, 2,000 people.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you hear people go like, "Oh, people are, they're just complaining because they're not making money off of music," I'm like, "Well, dude, because you're stealing it."
Right.
Like if you worked all week and then we came to you on Friday right when you got the check and we went, blip.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Right. No, and that's what happens to musicians. I mean, listen, it's
and it used to be before you toured to supplement your record income,
right.
And now there's no record income, so you have to constantly play.
Right.
Yeah, the record company.
That musicians have to play to make a living.
Right. Yeah.
But all the people who are musicians want to play every day to make their living.
And and we do. I mean, Susan right now, she's in Harrisburg playing with the orchestra there. She's doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 shows in Harrisburg. And she has a Disney contract. She works with Disney. She has a Broadway contract. To supplement her income on the rock and roll thing, she's doing all these orchestra shows and classical shows, which is really, great, and I love seeing her do that. Right. However, she wants to be rocking it out every freaking night, 5 nights a week, 6, 7 nights a week.
Yeah, like a buddy of mine, he does, he's the Christian rapper, but he's got a really good following.
Right.
And he's doing some stuff for some soundtrack work and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, I really want to play more. I said, well, dude, are you a singer? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're an Italian guy, portly, you look like Al Capone. Start kind of marketing yourself as Al Capone. You're from Chicago.
Yeah.
You'll get the, you'll get the element going.
Yeah.
I said, but what you can do, because you can sing classically, go jam with the jazz band.
Right.
Play with them. Go croon somewhere for fucking 3 months.
Right. Exactly.
Expand what you're going to do in your stuff. Don't be, because a lot of we grew up with a lot of metalhead guys and they stayed to their thing, whatever that was.
Right.
It's like, no, you got all this other stuff to color that music to make it bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you as a musician just to get the touch of that,
Right. You're absolutely right. It's just, you have to, kind of play with everyone and kind of get a feel of what's going on. I mean, I'm jazz trained. So, I mean, I used to do a lot of jazz work and I love it. And, but the thing is, like, listen, again, today, if I could help, musicians make money, with their music,
right.
I'd be extremely happy and proud to be doing that. And I hope that we can get together. And you know what? Feel free, if you have any bands in Chicago that want to upload onto TikTok, it doesn't cost them anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure,
and you know what? It's just like it's to get the word out and say, hey, we're banding together. We have this music. We want.
So everybody on the bottom of the screen, TikTokRock.com.
Right.
Go there, sign up.
Yeah.
No matter what genre of music, no matter how many albums you have, if you hold the rights, you're good to go, right?
Yeah. No, listen, we're doing,
And if you're small independent labels with multiple artists,
let's talk. Again,
talk to Joey.
There's no cost. I mean,
right.
Right now we the site's maintained.
There's
and we want it to grow.
Now these are singles, not albums, correct?
I mean, listen, we can have full albums on there, but we break it into singles.
Okay.
We sell individual songs instead of selling the whole album together. And reason being, we could sell it $2.99 per song, $1 for the band and expenses. Just and I'm not kidding anybody. Not every song on every one of our albums is great.
Yes, it is.
I heard even though I say they're all thrillers, no fillers, like David Lee Roth says. But you're not going to like everything on an album.
Well, even Led Zeppelin didn't have every song was great.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, so
Sammy throws the party, but I am the party.
exactly.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And
Oh, and I also do a killer Ace Frehley impression, by the way.
I
he
love
does.
Ace. Ace is a great guy.
Yeah.
Dude, I love him. What a great solo album, the first one.
Oh,
And the output he's had over the past 5 years has been great as a lifelong fan.
His
what?
last couple albums have been killer too. I mean, great production. And,
Anomaly.
I'm take for the album for coming out with Project Gem. I'm trying to bring in. We're in negotiations with a gentleman, a producer called Rob Freeman.
Uh-huh.
He worked. Well, he produced a lot of stuff. The Kiss, Twisted Sister, the Go-Go's, the Ramones. He worked with Ace directly on those albums that you're talking about. Engineered and produced. Rob Freeman was the owner of a studio that was Radio City Music Hall. I think it was called the Plaza Studios or something. I don't hold me to that. And he's currently living in Florida. And so we're trying to pull him to New York to do the sessions with us for the album. I think it'll be nostalgic, and it will be really great because I do love the classic Ace Frehley back in the day sound.
Oh man, my favorite song of the entire Kiss catalog is "Speeding Back to My Baby."
Oh yeah,
dude, that song is Anton Fig out of South Africa comes out of nowhere.
Right. Well, I give a shout out to Ace Frehley in Rocco's Groove Thing, and you'll hear it. I use the Les Paul. I use the Music Man's, and I'm trying to have the Music Man split everything the way the Les Pauls are split, and put the toggle up here because I just like that kind of thing. But anyway, Ace Frehley does that thing where he shuts the pickups, and he just goes. So there's one. All we have in the song is, and you'll hear it when you listen to the song, it just goes, boop, 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 and that's my ode to Ace Frehley. And when I did it, and I was like, so all I did was bend the note and just fucking went, and it just fades out, right? And everybody in the studio is like, holy shit, duh, everybody does it. But the point was, we took out the
Norman
lines
Greenbaum
before it and the lines after it. I said, just leave that in there. and he comes out of nowhere. But I don't give a fuck. Like, it didn't need an introduction. It's like, if you know Ace Frehley, you know that's, like, hey, Ace, this is for you. So, shit like that is what kids today need to learn. However, I feel that the younger generation is grabbing it. Long hair is coming back. I mean, not that the long hair is
mullet.
The epitome of the mullet. The epitome of
I mean,
rock and roll.
when we grew up having long hair, because I had long hair down to my ass for 20 years, it was part of the lifestyle. If you had long hair and you weren't a musician, what the fuck why do you have long hair?
I'm happy you say that, because you're absolutely right. And because I get shit, you can cut your hair, age appropriate, and I'm like, dude. I'm like, I wouldn't feel the same.
Yeah, I'd have long hair still. I just didn't want to look like Mick Fleetwood,
Listen, I feel like
once I shaved my head, Joey, people didn't ask me for the fucking time either.
Well, you know what it is? It's really funny. But I said, you know what? When I stop performing live, I will cut my hair.
There you go.
It's like it's not. Even though I wear it in a ponytail,
right? It doesn't matter.
Like, I don't feel like. I mean, for me, just my personal opinion, I just feel that, listen, I owe it. It's not easy to manage, man.
Right.
Don't you think I want a nice, good-looking haircut when I'm wearing a nicer suit or whatever, right? But, I got to keep it back or down. It looks sloppy, whatever. But it's my sacrifice for my art. I feel that when people come to my shows, that it sounds stupid, but it's like it's what you're paying for. Right. You're paying for the whole thing. You're not just paying for me to say, oh yeah, I'm a week, I just do this on Friday nights, to to jerk off or something. This is who I am, man. It's like, and so I just feel that when you go to a show, you got to give them everything. You got to give them. Everybody's using no more amps, right? Bullshit. I bring ask how many fucking stacks did I have on?
Oh yeah. You had like what, 4?
Yeah, you're gonna come on both sides of the stage. Yeah. So it's like you're gonna come see Joey Jem. I'm giving you the Marshall stacks. I'm giving you fucking the long hair. I'm giving you the the crazy ass guitar playing. I'm giving you the tricks. I'm giving you the why? Because you're there to be entertained. Right. Okay. You know what? If you want to go see, and Susan and I joke about this, if you want to go see a classical show and sit there, then go to the fucking Carnegie Hall and you'll get that. You know what I mean? But and you'll get great musicians and great music. But when I perform, it's about everything. Visual.
Right.
It's everything, and it's like it's part of the show. It's part of the music.
Yeah, it's like the phone girl at the restaurant that I work at on the weekends, right? So I, you know how it is. You got to have other shit going on, right?
Yeah.
So she's telling me, she's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, where have you been?" Past couple of weeks, she's been gone. She's like, "Oh, we had the musical." I'm like, "Oh, great, tell me about it," because she had a solo,
right?
And her mom's a vocal coach for the past 30 years, so she's really an incredible singer, and may not have may not get cast for certain reasons that are totally stupid and
right
whatever, but so she's like, yeah, she's like, so it went great, this, that, and the other, went to get my solo and my mic died.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, kick ass. I'm like, that's badass. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, next time it happens, you got it.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, my coach was like, or the director was texting that they could hear in the back row.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, singing's all about projection.
Right. Mm-hmm. Do it.
Mics weren't always around.
Yeah.
Right.
You're on stage. You're projecting.
No, you're right. You're right. And you're absolutely 100% right.
So I'm like, that's a great experience for you to have before you're on a live show getting paid.
Yeah. Well, and you always have to be prepared. I wouldn't say prepared. A true pro deals with it, and something great comes out of it. When I, my biggest moment on stage was when I finally got to play with Billy and Rod live that night, that 20 and whatever at Stereo Garden there. I had my guitars, big mistake, worked on that day.
Oh,
so it was so cold.
How cold was it?
Cold. When I got on stage, my top, the bottom 3 strings were fretting out. Yeah. And from the video and from the photo, you can't tell, but I was like a captain in a plane going down, right? And we were about to hit the fucking ground, and I was so calm, just playing the song.
Yeah.
Looking at my pedal board, looking at my guitar, my toggle, my volume knob, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Right.
And I have to admit, like I said, wow, I'm here. Billy's there. Billy's, smiling at me, and I'm guitar's fretting out.
Mm-hmm.
It took, I had to change guitars. That's basically what I had to do, right? Pick up another guitar. But the thing was like, I went through about 2 songs before I made that decision. I was like, all right, something's not right here. I fucking played it through, and I heard the tracks, and I'm like, okay. I mean, even though the guitar was fretting out, something was coming out. Yeah. Nobody had a clue. You know what I mean? And if they did, who really gave a shit? You know what I'm saying? It was part of the live experience.
Yeah, so I've directed a bunch of smaller stuff, and then I second united a bunch of bigger commercials and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And the best direction I ever would give is this. Hey, the only one who knows you're nervous is you.
Exactly. Nobody else knows. You're right.
No one knows, man.
Well, this is, let's see.
It's only you that you're tripping yourself up in your head.
Exactly.
Everyone else is fucking digging it.
Well, even a funnier fucking thing. You're absolutely right. And the other thing is, for musicians or anybody, any act like with the gun that they killed that actress, right?
And as a special effects guy who was a gun wrangler,
exactly. Listen,
motherfucker needs to pay, be in jail, and all types of things, man.
Yes, and as a
dear Alec Baldwin,
right, exactly. Well, my point is, as an actor or as a musician, you need to know your equipment.
Yeah.
Right. You think, I have a guitar tech, he's doing everything. Bullshit. Right. So listen, this kid, I love him. So, I didn't get mad at him. But, my biggest night back on first time on stage in a long time, I said to him from backstage, I said, is my amp off of standby? Oh, yeah, everything's done. Everything's great. Anyway, Rod Morgenstein, big crash, no fucking guitar. I knew right away. I said, this motherfucker never took me off a standby. So I went back, hit the button, boom, and I was right in. You know what I'm saying? Then I look for where he is. He's standing up there on the just enjoying the show. And I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be there helping me out, But again,
absolutely,
these are the things that happen. I mean, I didn't even get mad at I never used them again. But the point was like, it was just like, oh my God, you had one job. Yeah, I set everything up myself. Thank God.
And you can't trip yourself up during a show worrying about that shit because now it's the next second.
Exactly. So so that comes with the experience. And I'm glad that shit like that does happen, because you know what, it just shows the humanity of it, the reality,
that little bit of magic,
Yeah, and it just and actually that breaks the ice more than anything.
Yeah,
because
you're human now.
Yeah, because once that happens, it's it's all good. So, but I just, again, like, I'm and again, Rob is a good person, good friend of mine. I love music. That's why I'm doing this.
Well, the funny thing is about what you just said is that when I reached out to Joey for a photo pass because wanted to do a thing for the Long Island Sounds and stuff like that. And I had never seen him before, never saw a picture. So I didn't really know who Joey was. So I get up to the ticket takers and my name wasn't on the list.
Right, yes.
And I'm like, well, I have a contact for Joey Jem. And here comes Joey. And it's like, are you Joey? Like, yeah. And he told the people who I was and everything like that. Oh yeah, everything's cool, blah blah blah. So I get in, but the thing that stuck with me the most was that he actually took the time to come out from the dressing room, from sound check, rehearsal, whatever they were doing backstage, and it just showed me what kind of person that Joey was. And I'm not going to cut down any other local bands or tribute bands in the area, but they didn't do that. And it's funny how even when I was working at the casino, the prima donnas were the local musicians. And when we had top-notch musicians coming into the casino, it's like they were genuine people. They appreciated those of us that were, below them. And they appreciated us. And that's what I liked about Joey the most, is that he actually took the time to come from backstage out to the ticket takers and say, yes, he is supposed to be on the list. He's the photographer for the night. And that kind of like set the whole, how Joey and I got to this level that we are now, that he's a genuine guy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Respect goes a long way.
It sure does.
And respecting everybody, right?
I mean, the three words I had on the board when the kids were small, like truth, respect, loyalty. If they did something, go read the board. What does it say? Read it 3 times. Why? Without truth, you don't get no respect. Without respect, you have no loyalty. I'm like, that's everything.
No, you're right, man. You're right, and thank you for that, Rob. Because it is so important to really.
And that's why we're still friends to this day, because you're genuine.
Well, the people that wind up working for the longest time are the real deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other ones burn out, or they, become too self-important, and they make it about them rather than about the music.
Absolutely.
Because you're just a vessel. I'm just a vessel for the books I write.
Right.
You know,
you're absolutely, and you know,
true.
and you said the right word. We are vessels.
Yeah.
You know, and basically, you know, people sometimes don't understand how difficult writing a book or writing a song is. I mean, they think it's, you know, it may look easy because, oh yeah, you put it together. But
I had someone give me shit. I was working, you know, 3 years into this book, and I have multiple things going on, and you know, so they don't really know me. You know, I like you, I've got 17,000 things fucking going on all the way.
Right.
Like, oh, still working on that book.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's 400 fucking pages.
Exactly, man.
I'm like, I'm like, how long does it take you to write a half-page email? He's like, sometimes 3 hours. I'm like, good, go fuck yourself. 3 hours. Well, I'm 400 pages, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm making fun of Jesus and the media, so fuck off.
Right, yeah.
But the whole thing is, you know, people don't know the amount of time. Like, you have to lock yourself away to do the work.
No, you know, you're absolutely right, and that's, you know, it's just really, it's truly funny. It's like, you people. So I was doing an interview for ABC or something, TV, podcast, you know, that type of stuff, and you know, they insisted on me taking off my sunglasses, which is fine. I can take off my sunglasses. I don't care. You know, I'm the same person, you know. But I said, you know, branding is so important,
right,
you know, and
that's what these glasses and the hat is,
right,
for this show.
It's branding, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and people know me because of my orange guitar, and they know the sunglasses. They're square and they're big. They're not round. I don't wear a different type of sunglass every time. You know, right. You know, I mean, even, you know, the shade, you know, I took the beard off, and now summertime, just wear the goatee when I have some kind of facial hair. It's very marketing and branding. Right. It's so important. And I've been,
dude, do an album giveaway with people trying on Joey Jem fucking glasses.
Well, that's the point. You know, you're absolutely right. And you know what? And even the guitar, I'll be at shows, okay, that people are, you know, first time they've seen the band, we're opening for someone, and they'll be like, that guitar, I saw it. That guitar, I saw it with Billy Sheehan. It's like, they don't know me.
Right,
they don't know that I couldn't even fucking play.
Right.
You know, I look like a drummer. I don't even look like a guitar player. But they're like, they know that guitar.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. That's what you want.
You know, it's like that's the branding.
Yeah, you know, there you go.
It's so important. Like, people, you know, Eddie Van Halen, that red bright stripe.
I was so bummed when Eddie stopped striping.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Well, he started using the regular guitar.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but come on.
Yeah. You know, Eddie, but now his son is still, you know, with the striped amps.
Yeah.
You know, he's pushing it all again. You know, it's like, but again, you know, music is not, I mean, listen, back in the 60s, 70s, and, you know, 80s, you know, it was a little different. But today, to stand out, you have to have a brand.
Yeah.
And you have to stick with it. And then it helps the music grow. Right. You know, I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate, but the thing is that, you know, branding is so important. And you know, that's another thing. It's like to separate yourself. And I tell bands, you know, this because back right before Nirvana made it, right? We were showcasing, my band was showcasing for at the Cat Club, China Club, one of the two, Polygram Records, Warner Brother Records, and Atlantic might have been in that mix. Okay. And unfortunately, hair band music was going out. Nirvana just came out with their first album.
And Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam. So we were exactly.
What?
And you know, and you know, but what we were told was from all three A&R people, the same thing. They said, you guys look like 5 guys in 5 different bands, meaning you had no brand. You didn't, you know, and that always stuck with me because I even though you guys are good, but you have no identity.
Right.
It's like because you look like you're all trying to do something else.
Right.
And that just truly. So what I started doing, and especially now, is develop my own brand.
Right.
But whether I'm with, Road Crew or Joey Jem or Ozzy Osbourne, people will be like, "Oh fuck, that's the guy with the orange guitar."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they're gonna see.
Yeah.
And then the sound and all of that comes
like
with
there's
it.
one person I do feel sorry for being stuck with the brand, and that's the dude who wears the chicken bucket on his head.
Oh, Buckethead.
Yeah.
Buckethead.
Yeah. I get it, but dude, what a curse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's got to be hot as fuck under there,
Yeah. That was he did the right thing, but
yeah, it's one thing when you're 20 and you don't care because
cocaine
helps or whatever, but holy crap, but
Yeah. What's the wonderful guy that we saw with Billy Sheehan, Rob, play with the double neck? What's his name? Oh my God.
Ron Bumblefoot.
Right. All right. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I mean Ron. He's just an amazing. Didn't he have a gimmick too? For a while?
He's got the braided beard.
The braided beard, right? Yeah. So yeah, sometimes I mix him up with Buckethead. I mean, I know Ron,
I do too.
Right? You do
I'll
too?
have the same conversation with Rob. He's like, "No, you mean Buckethead." I'm like, "Oh,
yeah. Okay, yeah. All right.
I get it.
I kind of yeah. But yeah, he's an amazing guitar player. Another, oh my God, what a sweetheart of a gentleman.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, so listen, man, it's like, but everybody has a cool branding. I mean, even Zach Wilde. I mean, Zach got his thing, Right. It's like it's just Slash. I mean, he's got his thing. It's like you can't miss you can't make a mistake when you see Slash,
Oh, for sure.
And people can't even wear a top hat. You wear a top hat, you're trying to imitate Slash.
That's right.
How cool is that?
Right.
It's like he trademarked the freaking top hat.
Yeah, the only one who can get by with that is Alice Cooper.
Well, Alice Cooper, and he's not a good.
Never thought of that, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
You're absolutely right. But listen, it's just so amazing how there's so many great. Oh, I got another bitch. This is a bitching moment.
Uh-oh.
No, this is really cool though. It's got nothing to do with anybody that's anybody. What drives me crazy when I was trying to put together, I have Jordan and Susan's band most of the time. But when I was looking for a drummer, I was trying to get like a female flair to back up Susan.
Sure. And
you call up, all of these YouTube drummers that are like, oh my God, I got, whatever, so many views, and they're playing all covers.
But they can't play an original song.
Fuck. Not one of them came out of their shell.
Really?
To play with Susan. And I was just like, I'm not putting them down.
Right.
But I had to question. I'm like, if you're a YouTube drummer, I'm not talking about guys like Jordan Canada. I'm talking about like people playing to cover tunes.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And you're putting on all these videos.
Mm-hmm.
Are you really a musician? Are you really a drummer?
Right.
It's like you wouldn't step out of your comfort zone because could you do it?
Right.
I mean, to say no. Then I had another person. This is the best. We're all musicians here. You were referred to me. I call you up and I said, can you fill in for Jordan? Okay. Our drummer. He's on tour with Slaughter. And I said, can you do
Tokyo
shows?
Fist?
What's that?
Tokyo Fist.
Yeah, well, no, but he was Jordan was doing some other things too. At the time, and
I saw him at Tokyo Motor Fest. Great job.
Yeah. Jordan's amazing. And this person said, "No, I only travel for tribute music."
Wow.
I was offering him at the time like $500 for one show.
Mm-hmm.
I was not. This is not Jordan. Let me make myself very clear here. Jordan, I love Jordan. This got nothing to do with Jordan. This was a guy I needed to fill in for Susan while Jordan was on tour.
Right.
And I could not believe the response.
Yeah. Well, Joey, the other thing is too, I mean, like, you know, and I mean, not just me. I mean, a lot of people know it. When you're a musician, I mean, like, especially guys our age, you know, back in the day when you sweated out in the garage or the basement or whatever. There's a lot of these Instagram cats and YouTube guys. I mean, they're great. Their technique's great, but I mean, I don't know that they've all ever had that. You know, there's a certain thing, as we all know, that when you're playing with other human beings, there's like that's a whole other thing besides
the alchemy is missing. The alchemy of it all.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You know, when people go to me like, I've paid my dues, I said, really? Can you tell me how you paid your dues? Well, I tried out for American Idol twice.
No.
And I karaoke every Thursday.
No,
like,
you're
no.
right. No.
It's like, no, look at Van Halen. They played, you know, fucking 4 sets a night. You know,
yes.
All the people that we came up with played 4 sets a night.
Yes.
All cover music, slipped in some originals in there. And
yes.
you played everybody because that's how you learn.
Exactly. And you play.
There's no journeyman anymore.
Yes. And you play with different players and different
There's a bunch of apprentices and then the master class.
Right. You know, so when you get answers like that, when you have real money for a musician on the table, $500 for one show, and, you know, you'll pay all their expenses, and they tell you, I only travel for tribute music. First of all, that makes no sense.
Like, okay, I remember when people would split $50 between 5 dudes.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
You know,
and it cost them $150 to get to the show.
Right.
Well, you know what that tells me though? When somebody's saying that tells me that number one, they can't improvise.
Right.
And they don't know how to play off their bandmates. You know?
Exactly.
They have no chemistry.
No chemistry. And another thing, I immediately said, well, this person doesn't want to put in the work to learn anything.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he just wants to do what he wants. He knows.
Right.
So he doesn't have to put any work. I mean, that was so sad.
Yeah.
And
he'll be selling insurance in 2 weeks.
But you know, that's what I'm talking about, man. It was sad. It wasn't like I'm disappointed. Like, I shouldn't say disappointed. I wasn't mad. I wasn't I was disappointed at the music part of it, the musicianship. But I was like, man, that's a weird answer. Yeah, I'd rather him say, hey, man, I think you suck and I don't want to play with you than that. You know what I mean?
I'd be like, okay, $500 trip to New York. Fuck it.
You know, I get to get on stage.
You know,
come on.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you get the guys that, you know, and ladies that I'm playing with who are all virtuoso musicians. And, you know, and they sit there and they're like, hey, man, I love doing what you do. Just let me know I'm there. I mean, I saw Rod Morgenstein on an interview, and he started talking about me. I was like, what? I was like, Rod is talking about me, you know? And you know, he's like, yeah, you know, and he said such beautiful things. And again, I don't want him to say, hey, he's, you know, Steve Morse, or he's, you know, I'm not looking for that. What his big compliment was, Joey's full of music. Anything he does is musical. And that is huge.
Yeah, that is huge. Yeah.
Coming from a cat like that, you know? So, you know, that is really funny because I do have my own, you know, maybe I have like 7 fans in the world. So poor Billy's on an interview. and I'm watching the interview, and some fan calls up and goes, hey, Billy, tell me more about Joey Jem.
That's awesome.
I saw Billy's face.
Did they recognize your voice?
He's like, hey, man. He's like, Joey, give me a call. You know, let's get together. Like, what? You're talking about fucking Steve Hyde. You're talking about Paul Gilbert. And you're talking about these master shredders.
Richard
Kotzen. Like, hey, man, let's talk about Joey Jem. I had to text Billy later. I said, dude, I am so sorry.
You had nothing to do with that,
That's
man.
Great, man. That's
I know,
awesome.
but I felt so bad, like that. You know, the association was
right,
made, and you know, and,
that would have made my day. I'd have been like,
he goes, it's great, man. He goes, that's what this is about. Yeah. He's like, you know, but it was so funny, you know. It's like,
awesome.
So because, you know, I still in no way see myself anything like that. So when shit like that happens, I just start cracking up, you know.
Oh, dude, you got to post that interview.
I'm going to find it. I'm going to post it, but I apologized to him. I was like, Billy, I'm so sorry. he was laughing, right, you know.
Right.
But yeah, man, this is what it's about. It's a lovely thing, and I'm just blessed to have friends like you guys now, and those, and you know, musicians like that we grew up admiring, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, and
Oh.
being, oh my God, buying the albums. I still remember,
Yeah.
you know, Tallis, and I remember the first David Lee Roth album with, you know, Tobacco Road and all that, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
all that shit that
Yeah.
Steve was on, and Billy was, you know, Billy and the album, you know, so it's amazing, man. It's amazing, you know, how the world's, you know, where we are now.
You know, I often think about, you know, because Billy mentioned it, that Eddie talked to him a couple times about
Yes.
Van Halen now publicly, and I can't even imagine what that would have sounded like.
Yeah, well, I have the whole.
It would not have
story.
sounded anything like the DLR band, because
no.
after the first album, Dave got too much in his head, and then other things happened. But you know,
Yeah,
I still respect Dave, but yeah, absolutely. But, you know.
Well, the story on that, from, you know, a little bit of the story, from what and I don't like to tell Billy's stories because, you know, I don't want to ever say the wrong thing, but I believe I'm not speaking out of turn here. So when Billy got the call to try out for Van Halen, I don't know what was going on with Michael Anthony. No, David Lee Roth called Billy and said, "Come to LA. I want you to audition," or whatever it was, right? So Billy went to LA not knowing that David left Van Halen.
Okay.
So what Billy did was he called Eddie and said, "Hey, man, I'm coming to LA. I'm going to be jamming with you." And Eddie's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, Billy's like, because Michael Anthony was still in the band,
right?
And he's like, "Well, Dave called me," and then Billy found out that David left.
Oh.
So there was friction between Billy and Eddie, because Eddie didn't want Billy to go with Dave.
Right, because Eddie's like, "Oh, dude."
Well, you know, and Eddie was a little bit, God bless him, of a control freak. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Billy was really in a pickle.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because he's like, "Oh fuck," like, you know, you like now Eddie's pissed at me because I'm playing with Dave, and then I don't know well, then when Billy, you know, because there was a time when Billy had to leave the David Lee Roth band, he was no longer there.
Yeah.
Rumor has it that Billy had some relations with one of, like, David Lee Roth's main cats or whatever. You know? Yeah. So then when Billy got back on the bus and everybody found out, you know, Steve I was like, "Ooh, you know, you fucked up with the boss." You know, it's like, and Billy's like, "What?" He's like, "You're not in the band anymore."
Oh shit!
And that's when they brought in the drummer's brother, Bissonette or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, when you hang, and again, like I said, I don't tell stories because I don't like speaking for these guys, right? They're too big to speak for. And but you know, I'm sure these are innocent, long time ago stories that nobody gives a shit about anymore.
Right. That's
however
what rock and roll's all about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's somebody, you know, I mean, and I've heard them all. I've heard there's some Yngwie stories that I just don't want to tell because.
Oh, dude, I've got a great Yngwie story.
Tell me,
oh my God,
hilarious,
you could get in trouble because you know, if I get called to do one of those tours, I don't want to face the guy.
This has nothing to do with Joey Jem. No association. This happened back in 30 years ago when all of me and Rob and Jason were going to school together. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this guy, Mike Vader. I think he wound up releasing one album under the Vader.
Yeah, but wasn't he dating the girl from Expose too at the time?
Could be.
Remember when Expose was, you know, back in the 90s and stuff?
Yeah, I remember Expose.
I think this Mike Vader was actually dating the lead singer of Expose.
Yeah. So we're partying one night, and he's talking about, he's like, "Yeah, one of the jobs I do is when Yngwie goes out on tour, I take care of his cats in his house."
Right.
I'm like, "Oh." And me and my buddy Brian Topel, we had just did a meet and greet with Yngwie and he'd already gone through like 4 singers in like 2 years. And I was a metal singer, and so everyone's bringing shit to sign. I didn't bring anything. Brian didn't bring anything. We're just there to give him shit. You know what I mean? And it's probably a stupid move, but you're cocky when you're fucking 20,
Sure.
So I go up to him. I'm like, hey, Yngwie, I'm like, do you have issues with lead singers, or is it them? Because seriously, because like your music's phenomenal, but dude, you're not catching anyone because you're swapping singers every half album,
Right?
Jeff Scott Soto never got to. There was another singer singing on stage to the music video. You don't remember, you'll never forget.
Right.
Joey Turner.
And he's like, "Oh, it's the singers. They have lead singer disease." I'm like, "Okay." So anyway, so then me and Mike are talking, and we're hammered. This is like 2 a.m. I'm like, "Dude, give me his phone number." And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I'm gonna fuck with him." He's like, "Okay."
Right.
2 a.m. after what we were, ingesting at that time, and in the state of the world the way it was, and being who we were, that was acceptable. So I would do that for like the next 2 years. I would randomly call. Hypothetically, I would randomly call, and I do voices. I would be like, "Hello, Mr. Malmsteen. This is Inspector Johnson with the Internal Revenue Service, and because of your immigration status, we need to know about." And I would leave like these rambling,
right.
5-minute IRS fucking voicemails.
Oh, God.
Every like 4 or 5 months, just to fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's fucking.
You probably bugged him to some extent, and this is before caller ID.
Right.
And then just one day I just stopped doing it. But
that's awesome.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
It's one thing about Yngwie's a character, man.
And we told him, we're like, dude, you can't do what you're doing at the bar, on the bar,
right,
at Button South.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, Button South, he gets arrested like 15 minutes after we tell him, dude, don't do that on the bar with that cutting device.
Yeah.
Been there.
He didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, it was so. And we went to school with Marilyn Manson and the Spook.
Right. Well, and speaking of Joe Lynn Turner, so before Don Chaffin was singer of Road Crew, Joe Lynn Turner was going to be the guy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
At that time, and so we went. But actually, I didn't even meet Don yet, so it wasn't like it was an option. Joe Lynn Turner, was referred, and that's it. Then he had a heart attack. He was doing whatever he was doing, and so it's just funny how the world takes different turns.
Oh yeah.
And
but sure.
it's just But anyway, listen. It's really I enjoy what you guys are doing. It's a great just a great vamp, to everything. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Absolutely, man. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, what's your opinion on bands? Once if you're a legacy band, people die.
Mm-hmm.
People retire. They change venue.
Yes.
To something else. What's your opinion on people going out under a certain name, their brand, and what percentage is it still the band?
Coins, right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's say, okay, for instance, let's use Queen as an example.
Yeah.
I think when I saw that kid on American Idol,
Adam.
Yeah, and I saw him with Kiss.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, even though he didn't win. I said, this kid is magic, right?
But the first time he performed, I'm like, that dude's winning.
Right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter if he doesn't win, he fucking won.
And this before I even knew he was, gay, or that didn't even matter. It doesn't.
No, because it doesn't. Who cares?
He came out later, but like the whole thing, and again, it doesn't matter. The whole point I'm trying to say is when I saw him go toe to toe with Kiss, I said, this kid's a fucking star. So something like that is major because you have to make the band is there. Right. Now you get a band like Foreigner, who I don't even know if they have
I didn't want to be specific, but I'm glad you caught what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's not Foreigner anymore. I mean, that's a tribute band,
right?
As great as they are, and their manager, I forgot his name. He's like Zeppelin's original guy. Or he was with Atlantic Records too. But regardless, I forgot his name right now.
Right.
But yeah,
Peter
Foreigner.
Grant.
No disrespect to Foreigner and their,
Right.
I guess their brand.
Yeah.
But it's not Foreigner.
Yeah, Jeff
So,
Pilson on bass, from Dokken.
Yeah. And you get a band like Kiss, who's it's Paul Stanley and
Right.
I mean you even get a band like with all due respect, it's like even Sabbath. The Sabbath is still Sabbath. They have Geezer Butler. They had
they went through a weird period there.
They went through a weird period. I mean, the best guy that just transitions himself is fucking Ozzy. Doesn't matter who he plays with.
Right.
Yeah. Another band. You see, this is really funny. Whitesnake, right?
Yep.
They should just call it the David Coverdale Band.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's like, so guys like that, things like that. And it's really interesting because I was having this conversation with Susan, and I said, Susan, because she has a Susan Aquila band, right? It's her music and everything, and now we're writing stuff for Project Jem. I go, you got to understand something because of the years of age difference. I said, you know what? We may go out there maybe for 2 years or 3 years with Billy and Rod, right? So we have to Project Jem. What I always wanted it to be is a project where we're allowed to work with different great musicians,
like interchangeable parts,
and create great music.
A collective.
Exactly. And it doesn't necessarily matter. In this situation, it matters because of the power of these players. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The reputation. But you know what? I would love to go out there and do a jazz song with Project Jem. You know what I'm saying? And have Al Di Meola sit in with me, or something like that. So, Project Jem was more of a open-ended project. And we're gonna now confine it more to a band, so this way we're not wearing too many hats, and people can relate to it, right? Sure. But it's like you mentioned, the G3 or the G4 concerts, right? Nuno Bentecourt came in later. There was Ingwe, there was Zach. That's a cool concept, right? Because you know what? You don't know what you're going to get in 2 years, who's going to be together. So that's a cool project. So that's Project G, whatever, Guitar Force.
Like I have a couple of buddies. They have, their bands, and they have anywhere between 6 and 10 members per show. Right. And you never know who's showing up.
Exactly. So, right now we want to, because we want to mainstream it. Sure. And we want to do, hopefully, sell out a few shows, and you never know where it's going to take you, and write some real solid band orientated music, which I want to bring the next point really quick. I told the band Project Jem, I'm the split sheets, what we call in the industry, for all the rights and everything. I'm splitting it evenly across the board. Like, I like that whole thing when you look at a band like Van Halen, and it was Michael Anthony, David Lee Roth, you know what I'm saying, Eddie Van Halen and Alex Van Halen, 25 written words of music by, and all of their names. And I put that out there to them this week. Literally 2 days ago, I said I want Eric.
Well, David Lee Roth had to sue Van Halen.
Right, exactly.
Because he was getting 10 cents per album, and Michael Anthony was getting a quarter.
Right. Yeah. Well, exactly. Where I truly want to, because it doesn't matter,
Right. Well, there you go, being fair again.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just love it. And believe me, people that I work with, even if they get, and I'm not talking about these guys, I'm talking about other people I've worked with, think I'm fucking a lunatic. They're like, how could you do that? It's your music. And I'm like, fuck, man, 100% of nothing is still nothing.
It's a team.
You know what I'm saying? It's
if you're in a team, you can't be pro you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't get it. So and I feel that all of them really, because they've been in the industry so long, and because they know how people act, it's my song, that I think it's really refreshing to them, and that's exactly what I said. I said I kind of like that rock and roll split evenly thing. You know, that's
exactly. I may have been a little hammered the other night on St. Patty's Day. So I'm watching this interview. I forget who it was.
Oh, are you Irish?
No, I'm Bohemian, but I was drunk. But walking distance 40 seconds.
We're all Irish on St.
Right,
Patty's.
right. So someone was complaining. They're like, "Oh yeah, the drummer fucking bitching about not getting songwriting credits, this, that, and the other." He's like, he didn't write anything. He just contributed the drum beat.
Right.
I'm like, what?
That's the song.
I'm like, dude, are you fucking high?
Yeah.
Oh, he just fucking what?
Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah. Bullshit.
You know, I'm like, wow, that
it's just bullshit. No,
and everyone like everyone's fighting for that because that's where the money is.
Well, how many great bands broke up?
Oh, dude, it was Rat. You know? It was the producer from Rat.
Right.
Bo Hill.
Werman? Was it Tom Werman?
Bo Hill, wasn't it?
Tony did something. I don't think he did everything.
Yeah, so like he's basically telling the story about how Bobby Blotzer was totally fucking pain in the ass. All he did was bring the drum beats.
Yeah, no. Listen, you know what?
I'm like, what?
You know, listen, that's so wrong. I mean, like, there are songs that I recall that I wrote with Jordan Canada in the beginning that later became songs with Road Crew, that Jordan totally deserves credit for.
Right.
It's so I figured with this album, starting fresh, I just want to give everybody the fair shake.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. I mean, it's just this way, they appreciate it because what?
It's honest.
Yeah, man. It's like, listen, and something I do feel it's psychological also, because when your name's on it, you're going to do everything you can to push it.
Right.
And let people hear it if you're proud of it. Right.
So
I don't know.
Sometimes other people will take the lead in the percentage of what's going on,
Yeah, and
it all winds up evening out. But
it all evens out. And
what people who aren't musicians don't understand is like you could have 10 people play,
right? Exactly,
and it sounds totally different,
right? Yeah,
because of the way that because I've talked about this a bunch about Van Halen. The reason why Van Halen was so different than everyone else is that everyone else was following the British blues invasion, which was rehashed from the U.S. and then went back.
Right.
Van Halen came up as jazz guys.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I grew up listening to jazz. My dad was a jazz fiend.
Yeah.
And he's a magician, so all this stuff we would listen to all the time because that's what he's doing his act to.
Right.
But there's a certain swing with jazz that blues doesn't have.
Right. Well,
and if you listen to Alex Van Halen,
he's one of the best
master, and he's so underrated. It's unbelievable how underrated that guy is.
Well,
oh yeah.
We did a I don't know if you know about it, Rob, but I did it for what is his name? Fader. He works with Zebra and everybody, and he works with Joan Jett. He's one of Joan Jett's producer, engineer. And he did the EVH album, everything dedicated to Eddie Van Halen. And Susan and I did Jump.
Oh.
And we used Billy and Rod. And we nailed the motherfucker, and nobody wanted to do Jump, so it was like, so we nailed it. And Rod came out of that session saying, wow, he goes, you know what? He said the same thing. He said, Alex Van Halen is one of the best drummers in the world and the most underrated drummer.
Absolutely. If Eddie was not the guitar player known for what he was, Alex would be right up there with Neil Peart, I think, in
right. Well,
everyone respects Alex Van Halen. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Different level there.
No. Alex is great. He's a groove master. But there's listen. It's just all of these players. I mean, holy shit. I mean, when are we going to see not an Eddie Van Halen, a Van Halen band again? When are we going to see, whether you like them or not, a Who band again?
Right.
When are we going to see another, I'm just getting into the Rolling Stones now.
I was never a big Stones fan.
No, I'm getting into it now.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you hear first of all, Ron Wood, great player. But if you hear Keith Richards, what he does, I was watching a clip of him because thank God, this is where, I contradict myself sometimes. Thank God for YouTube, because I get to see clips of these guys in the dressing room playing and practicing, and I'm listening. Like everything that Keith Richards writes is a hit. It's a hook. That guy's so great. You know what I mean? It's like try to.
And the other thing that we
he's just noodling.
There used to be a bunch of bands that had humor to them.
Yes.
Van Halen was like the Three Stooges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe Walsh, total goofball.
Yes.
Oh, Rush was the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But there's this band called the Naked Party. They've got that Van Halen funny.
Yeah. Cool.
Kind of a thing, and it's nice to see again. And there's this other band, Dirty Honey.
I heard of Dirty Honey.
They've got the rock and roll thing going.
Yeah, no, I know. I've heard
very similar. It's like if Tora Tora had a baby, that would.
Oh, Tora. Yeah, I remember Tora too.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I just heard of Dirty Honey a couple weeks ago. Listen. The point is, see exactly what you're saying.
Right.
Let's get these fucking bands out there. Let's let people start hearing them. We talk about them, like this, and but I can't yet. I can't tell you, what Dirty Honey's doing, but I know I heard they're
touring with WVH Mammoth.
Oh, that's where I heard of it.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. That's gonna be a great show. Wolfie,
right, with Mammoth, right? Okay.
That album Wolfie put out is phenomenal.
Okay, cool. So I know that. Yeah, there was the association there. Man. Listen, I just I want to see these great bands, and I think, believe it or not, Wolfie Van Halen, I think he may not be epic. However, anything he works with is going to be epic. So like this band Dirty Honey is probably going to be huge because he discovered them, because he has a great ear for music,
right?
And he's great, and he's going to have some great
people
songs.
Give him shit. It's like, fuck you, dude. He was a member of Van Halen for 15 years.
And you know what? That song he wrote about his dad, whatever, I forgot what it was called. Yeah. Fucking awesome. And another thing I respect that kid about, he didn't put anything out until Eddie was gone.
Yeah.
He held it.
He did not do anything, and he could have. Because
Yes,
I want to be on my own. I don't want to be in my father's
3 years.
footsteps. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be my father's shadow. He didn't do anything, man. He waited.
Like when he released his album, I was kind of like cringing, waiting for, because I believed whatever he's going to put out is going to be great, because he's a fucking great musician.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the fact, like we'd all watch what's going on, and the people on the internet are just children, and they give him shit about his weight and this. Like, dude.
Yeah.
But the fact that after Eddie died and his album came out, the fact that everyone was respectful.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a couple shitheads, but
everyone
was like, dude.
Yeah.
Right on. You know what I mean? Because we all watched him grow up.
Yeah. No, listen.
And then to be part of Van Halen for 15 years. And, that was, dude, I'd want my son in my band.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was very, Eddie was very sweet about doing that, and but then then on the other, there is no other side. What I'm talking about is also Sammy Hagar with Michael Anthony. How amazing they are doing what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're still rocking it all the time. Yeah. So, and but again, I'm hoping that because of Van Halen, Mammoth, and because of these other bands, the younger 20s, 30s kids are going to be writing that kind of stuff and going on tour. There's a band, Adam and the Metal Hawks. They're local. Have you?
Oh yeah, I love those guys.
Great guys. Awesome guys. They're another band that I think is really going to make it. I mean, I just feel they have the drive and they have the great songs.
Yeah, they just changed up their drummer too about a month ago.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened there. I don't know if there's a story that anybody knows, or
I think the drummer just kind of like bailed out. I don't think he wanted to do it anymore.
It's really interesting. They were. I know there's been a couple of switches of management.
Yeah. Well, Adam was on actually. Was he on The Voice or was he on
American Idol? Yeah, he was on. Was it American Idol or The Voice?
I'm thinking it was American Idol.
Yeah, I think it was American Idol too. No, Adam's great.
Yeah, he is a great vocalist.
you know, this is how I feel, and you know, and again, I have to really be careful with my opinions. Cannot be criticism. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I'm going to work with these guys, right?
Yeah.
You know, however, they started doing a TikTok, not my TikTok. They started doing a TikTok
Yeah. Yeah.
comedian type of shit, and it
With
really
Jack
took
Black.
away from there. It was cute and funny once or twice. Now they kind of, you know, kind of took away from the seriousness of their music, you know, because they weren't like Van Halen funny, you know, they were more goofy funny,
Yeah.
trying to be comedians,
Right.
and I don't think you can be both,
Well, I
you
think
know.
they were trying to, in my opinion, I think they were trying to take away from the boredom of the COVID, because obviously they're not
Yes,
out performing, they can't get out on stage, even though they've been making music. I don't think
yes.
that, I think it was just a matter of, dude, we need to get our name out there, we need to get seen, and they were just making these little goofy TikTok videos.
You're absolutely correct. However, it was management driven,
Yeah.
and because I know the transition,
Okay.
and then it would just went a little over the top.
Okay.
Because when I was involved discussions with the management, they were telling me, "Oh yeah, you know, we had them do the subway thing and this thing and that thing and the other thing," and I'm going, "Okay, you know, there's." But I understand keeping it alive and keeping the. Listen, I'm the first one to fucking tell you about marketing, and you know, anything comes out of my mouth to get, you know, some kind of you know, some kind of a reaction, you know.
Mhm.
But there's, you know, there's, you know, even with me, there's only so much. Like even with the guitar thing, with the Kramer thing, there was only so much I can push it. You know, after that, it just became monotonous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you were done wrong. They stole your
Right,
design.
right.
Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? We knew, you know, you cried about it, you bitched about it, you made your
Mhm.
point. Now shut the fuck up. There's nothing you could do about it.
Right.
And so, and I feel that goes with any kind of marketing, right? You know, it's like there's only so much, you know, we could do, and then it's like, okay, now it's time to start performing and really showing us what you got. And listen, but I'm happy there's a band out there like that.
Yeah.
That's original. That sounds great, and you know, and it's young enough to go for the next 30, 40 years, God willing. You know,
Right.
so I just, but I'm again, I'm just really happy about everything, and I'm just laughing now. My mind works in reverse. I'm laughing that we all connected on the foreigner thing before. It's just so funny that like
Feels like
we
the first
immediately.
time.
It was just really funny because it's like that's how my mind works. It fucking hiccups and like,
Yeah. I have a friend of mine actually is Lou Graham's next door neighbor, and they have coffee every morning.
oh yeah.
Wow.
That's
What is it?
pretty
Because
fun.
he performs with them every now and then, right?
Once in a while, he'll
Yeah.
jump up.
Yeah,
I
once in a
guess,
while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you know, listen, great, you know, again, I'm more. Listen to bands like. I mean, I can't believe Autograph is coming back. I'm like,
What?
What?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck?
David Lee Roth's find is coming back?
Yeah, Autograph. I'm like, well, I thought it was Eddie's fine, but whatever.
Oh,
Like,
is
okay.
that how it worked?
Steve Lynch, right? The guitar player was his
Yeah.
name, Steve Lynch.
Yeah.
And then you know, I'm a big Dokken fan, George
Love
Lynch fan.
Yeah.
And then I saw George Lynch was doing a show with Dokken at Whiskey Go Go, and he had his back turned against the audience for the whole show.
Yeah.
And he just had his foot on the drum riser, playing with the drummer. I was like, what is this guy doing?
Acid.
Yeah. You know, like, I mean, sometimes these guys got to get called out.
Right.
Yeah, I
Like,
think he
it's like,
did.
man, I'm like, I mean, who are you disrespecting? Like, you know, and I love George Lynch.
Yeah.
You know, Tesla. Now, okay.
Oh, I love that band.
Tesla is a band that they are still doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yep.
They inspired me in what I'm doing.
And the last album was produced by Phil Collin.
Yes, exactly. Yes, with the Def Leppard thing, right? But their shows are amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Their stage show, they do everything the way it's supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Troy took a break, right? The drummer they've got. I think they got. Isn't it Mick Brown's brother from Dokken?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
I think he's sitting in. Yeah.
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 I love those guys. I just really
Yeah, they're a
enjoy
great
their
band.
shows.
Yeah. I'm a big
How-
Frank,
The only
Frank
reason why
Hannon
they're
fan.
not huge, they're not Aerosmith huge, is because the singer is ugly.
but
I mean,
he's a-
seriously. I mean, that's
but he's a
not
nice
my
guy.
not my view, but the
Right,
view
right.
of the
Girls, yeah.
executives pushing them.
Yeah, but he's a nice guy, real nice guy.
Dude,
He really is.
totally
Yeah,
nice.
I met him.
Very
voice.
smooth. Yeah.
Great.
Now, speaking of Aerosmith, if we can, my favorite thing that I can't stop watching on Access TV is Aerosmith at Donington.
Ah,
Have you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
seen this live concert?
Yeah.
Oh my God! If you haven't, please watch it.
okay.
Yeah, you
I'll
got to
check
watch
out.
it. It's
Oh
great.
my God!
At Davington.
Is
At
it
yes.
Donington, yeah.
And
old
then I
school
think
or
I
is
saw
it recent?
I recently saw AC/DC. Another. It's all recorded.
Oh yeah, I
At
saw that one
Donington.
too.
Yeah. So, but Aerosmith, that's the epitome of a rock band.
Oh yeah, in their heyday. Phew.
It was just no. It was recent though.
Oh, it was recent. Okay.
How old was that, Rob?
I think it was maybe about 5 years ago because
Oh, yes,
Joe,
yes, it was pretty current.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
you know
God.
whose return surprised me? Like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Glenn Hughes was everywhere. Like the
Yes.
last 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't hear
Yeah.
from him for how long? 15
Well,
years?
he was with Black Country Communion with Joe Bonamassa for a
Bonamassa.
few
Right.
years.
Right.
He's in the Dead
Yeah,
Daisies
but starting
now,
with
right?
that is like when
Right.
and then all of a sudden he was everywhere, and we hadn't
Right.
seen him. I don't remember seeing him since I was in high school.
It's in Black Sabbath.
I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but you know what I mean. He just like poof.
Yeah.
You know?
One of the most disappointing concerts I ever saw was
Uh-oh.
when Aerosmith and I like them both. When Aerosmith and Kiss toured together.
Mm.
Yeah.
Many
I
years,
almost went to that
2004, 2005. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. They kind of washed it. Aerosmith came out on stage with no light show. Like, one small amp, one bass amp, like they were doing a club, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh wow.
And I guess that was, they wanted to be stripped down and, whatever. But they won't. It was just horrendous. And, Kiss did their thing, but I guess because of, they were double billing.
Yep.
So one night Aerosmith would headline, one night.
Really?
And
Mhm.
yeah, it was weird.
That is weird.
It didn't go over too well, but I guess the tour did okay.
Yeah.
So that's about it. But it's like, yeah, some of the bands that I'm talking about bands that I like to emulate live.
Mhm.
And Aerosmith's a great band. I mean,
Absolutely.
Tesla's a great band.
Mhm.
It's just I just hope we get more of this stuff, man. I just
Right.
but I'd like to come out to Chicago one day and do a few things out there. We'll keep in
Absolutely.
touch. You know what I'm saying? It's
Show around getting you in trouble.
no,
Good trouble. Here, this is a real pizza. You don't fold it.
Listen. You know what?
This is an Italian beef. No,
That-
no ketchup on the hot dog, bro.
No. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't put ketchup on a hot dog. Anyway.
So earlier we're talking about like you can have 10 people play that.
Yeah.
So one day I'm living in Glendale, California after my back surgery, and I'm recouping, and I hear do 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 do.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay, there's only a handful of Moog players,
Right. Yeah. Moog. Yeah.
and there's only one person who can play it that way. And I'm like, I'm going to go take a walk, grab my cane, hobble down 2 blocks down. And it's the Doors playing in a parking lot of a new Chevy dealership that like Ray Manzarek's best friend was opening.
Oh my God.
Free hot dogs and the Doors.
Wow. Heaven.
They're like, it's fucking, I'm like, I'm glad I went. I was like, get the out of, I'm
That's
talking with all the members of the, remaining. This is before 20th Century Doors came out, but
That's really awesome. Here they just opened up, which Rob and I are gonna go. What's that hot dog place out there? Rock and roll hot dog or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, great concept.
Yeah.
I want to go try these hot dogs. I mean, listen,
Absolutely.
I'm a hot dog eater.
I am too. It'll be good to.
yeah, when Rob was out in Chicago, we went to Portillo's.
What is Portillo's? I don't.
Italian beef hot dog stand.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Is that the place in Chicago where they like berate you while they're making you a dog? And they like
No, that's Ed DeBevick.
No, that's the restaurants you go to.
Yeah.
Well, there was an Italian place in Ozone Park, right? That was like that. It was like the insult Italian place.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want?
Yeah.
Why are you here? Come on, hurry up. The church
Exactly. Yeah.
in, you know.
Yeah, and you know, to me, still, I love the dirty water dogs in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Every time I go to Manhattan, I got to get two, and then you have the right spicy brown mustard that goes perfectly with it. You know, listen, God bless hot dogs, but
I haven't had a New York dog, so next time I'm out there,
man, dirty water, you got to be in Manhattan, and
there's dirty water dog.
Yeah, they're fucking awesome, bro.
They're Nathan's, but yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're really awesome. You know, so but I tell you, you know, let's again, first of all, I appreciate you guys having me on. It was really great. A lot different.
Your show is going to be in like December.
Yeah, we're aiming for that. See, the thing is, everyone's so busy.
Right.
And we don't have label backing right now.
Right.
So it's everyone. I got to wait for everyone's touring season to be over to book anything, right?
Oh yeah.
Because we need at least a week or two of rehearsals.
Right.
You know, it's gonna be a 90-minute show. So I mean, we need 2 weeks of rehearsals, and we need the show or 2 shows.
Well, maybe that's when I come out and have a New York hot dog.
Yeah, that would be great.
There you go.
Well, so we're definitely gonna, and we're going to do it, and it's going to be under the Rock for Rocco umbrella, so it'll be a lot, easier to get the bigger bands there also if we need to.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to need the press's help as much as I can, and and once like I said, I'll send some details over so you know what the album will contain, and this way you can push it the way you want. And we'll give you. I'll definitely make sure you get privy to anything that we're recording, so you get to hear what's going out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be a judge before it
releases. We'll push it. Absolutely, man.
Updates.
Weekly, monthly.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted on everything that we're doing, and it'll be fun to have something outside of my circle of where I'm going.
And this podcast is built for men to be able to, here we are talking about rock and roll, but we're actually here about to get men to open up, to be free to talk.
Yeah.
People might have cringed when I said, hey man, how you doing today?
Right. No, but that's good, man.
Week, and people need to be asked that, Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. And you know what? And as men, we do, we all have issues, you know what I'm saying, that we need, and especially as we get older, right?
Absolutely. Jason has sex with goats,
Well, listen, it's I feel for the goat. Right. But it's we all have issues, and and it could be so many different things, and I totally agree. And I lost, I shouldn't say myself, but a good friend of mine lost her husband to alcoholism.
Yeah.
Young guy, VP of a bank, very they were very well off, and he drank himself to death. I didn't even think that's possible.
Wow.
Yeah, money doesn't make you rich.
No, you're right. Yeah, I just said that because he had everything he wanted. He worked everything he worked for.
Absolutely.
But he drank. He literally drank himself to death.
I know many people who have.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I partied a lot, and I can't imagine that.
I know.
Right. Does that even, it's because they did, she's been dealing with it for a few years. And, I know alcoholism isn't a joke. Then they decided to, and again, listen, they separated, but not something she wanted in her life, but just, and they both had, so he had another home.
The addiction had nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
It had to do with what happened to him and his trauma, whatever that is. And,
they found him dead in the new house, and he was dead for 14 days.
Oh wow.
And because she was still checking up on him, but she said, let's give this a cooling off period.
Sure.
But when they went to the house, they found, because I guess this isn't in New York, it's in another state. They found like he was getting alcohol delivered. He was so fucking out of it.
Yeah.
He didn't even go out to buy alcohol. It was delivered. So they found, full bottles of liquor on his front step being delivered.
Wow.
Right.
And then finally, when she didn't, she had access to his phone and she saw no activity, she said, let me go in, and she called a friend. They went in and they found that, so, and again, like I said, successful human being, had friends, had family, daughters, and just to, what consumes you to that level? He had depression issues.
Yeah.
And because I do know functioning alcoholics, and it's the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Because
like the weird thing with my brother is he was an alcoholic, and the last week of his life he didn't drink. But he also didn't sleep.
Yeah, and he committed suicide. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's there's a whole bunch of varying levels of and I'm glad that your organization provides relief and help for grieving. A lot of people don't understand how it works, because it's not. There's no grieving works like this. No.
Right. No, there's no
timeline. There's no steps to take. It's I couldn't talk on the phone for a year.
Listen, Rob knows. I was technically in a grieving coma.
Yeah.
For about a year. Yeah. All I did was sit on the couch. I could not speak to anybody. Right. I could not see anybody.
Right.
I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do anything.
Right.
And and that's how music was the only thing that actually got me out of the house.
Yeah.
And that says something in itself.
There's one song that broke me out of it. That's what's so fucking beautiful about me. You can have a music box that plays a French song, and that means the whole world to a couple of people.
Exactly.
You can have something that you hear from the church bells down the street or something.
Right.
But the fact that what song is it? Oh, it's by Volbeat, Live to Die.
Yeah.
That's a fucking great song, because it, like, I'm trying to live, my brother wasn't able to, carry out his dreams and stuff. I get it. My dad wasn't either. I've seen the effect on what that happens. I'm about doing what I want to do, not what I don't care what anyone says. I'm not
exactly.
I just want to create.
Right.
So the fact that one song, after, like 8 months, 9 months of just total sucking a black hole.
Right.
And these guys every day, Jason sending me funny shit, Rob talking to me every day.
Right.
But you need those people in your life to make you move on.
Yeah, man. No,
and it's just, even if they're just, all they're doing, man, is just like putting your hand on your shoulder. Hey, dude.
I agree.
Most important thing. And so I was like, man, we need to, this would be great if we could bring it out, because right now as men, we're not allowed, apparently. We're not allowed to congregate. We're not allowed to have our own thing.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it's very important for the younger generation coming up as men, or maybe people are confused that maybe they're not, and that's fine. Hey, here's a place. Come hang out, sit on the couch.
Great idea. Well, listen,
shit and talk about heavy stuff at the same time, and be entertaining and funny,
and have some laughs.
Because if you can't
rib on each other,
you know what I mean? Like, people who've gone through dark things find weird shit funny.
Yeah, no, you're actually right. Yeah, our sense of humor is.
Yeah, and it's not it's like, oh, you bet, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just doesn't really. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
and no, but I think that what you're offering is a true. I'm sure that eventually you could take phone calls from people, and they will open up to you.
Yeah, people call me direct.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Give my personal number out, and then.
That's awesome. Yeah,
they've called me direct. I had one guy sitting in an office ready to kill himself.
That's weird.
I had another guy who had made the rope on the tree.
Wow.
And now one guy's opening up a mental health services for men in Indiana because he listened to a podcast. That's fucking crazy.
No, that's that's awesome, man.
You know what I mean? And now I don't give a shit. I have all the fuel that I need to do this forever because we helped one person.
Right.
No, yeah, and that's all it takes. I mean, that's all. Like I said, if I can help one person, I'm extremely happy. I can help one family.
That's why I wanted to bring you on, Joey.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it, Rob.
And in the stratosphere that you deal with traumatic brain injury, the heaviness that goes along with it, because there's no easy solution to a traumatic brain injury.
No, it's not.
And people don't understand it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, he's not. Well, okay, you can't really judge anything until 6 months. So,
right.
After that, you have to start to figure things out. And, and it's a really tough situation, and especially dealing with kids.
Yeah.
Vince.
Yeah. And, dude,
listen, with kids, it's with anyone.
Yeah.
However, with children, I mean, I just even like,
right.
What I'm seeing going on in the Ukraine is like, I'm saying, wow, man, like these fucking poor kids. Then you see the pregnant woman on the floor, that they both died, the mother and the baby.
Right.
I'm like, this it really just, we can't do anything. I mean, it's like, we can't,
no, and it's never about the people. We don't want any of this. They don't want any of this.
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah. It's just very difficult to see this happening. And for children, though, children just like, well, for many reasons, for me, obviously, just that's where the buck stops, Right.
Like, exactly.
I'll do whatever I need to do because it's just not fair. And they're so innocent and they're so full of life. And and they love each other. It doesn't matter what color, what religion, whatever. They're all there for each other. Right. And it's just so big of them, bigger of the children.
I've learned more from kids on wheels,
than
all the smartest people in the world that I've met.
Yeah. Well, and
the purity of it is,
it's amazing. I was in 2013. I was hit by a car, funny enough, crossing the street, and I broke my ankle and shattered my heel. So my right leg is all fucked up now. My hip's fucked up. But anyway, I couldn't walk for about a year. This was in 2013. Then I had Rocco in 2015, and then I lost Rocco in 2017. So, but during that time when I couldn't walk, I saw the kindness of being the way people carried my bag, held the door for me, strangers, and I was like, it gave me like a different perspective on life.
Yeah,
because I was really couldn't do shit for myself.
When I went through my accident, I'm like,
you had the back injury, right?
Yeah, back, hip, and legs. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And it's 3 years down. And the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know how you feel, man.
The best thing that ever happened to me. And the reason why I was able to come out here and like I've worked on, the governor's committee for stem cell research, which we got $100 million, and now people are being treated in Illinois successfully. 15 years later, I was on a board of directors for spinal cord injury.
Awesome.
I had a company once. Someone became paraplegic or quad. We would literally set up their home to be more independent. So I've always been around this type of thing. I was a special effects guy. I'm like, okay, well, I can't do that anymore.
Right.
So how can I make people fly without a camera?
Right.
So I had things that lifted them out and tracked them through the house and all kinds of things. But, the reason why I was so good at it is because I was there and I was supposed to be in a worse off position, but I was lucky.
Exactly. We are.
And and people are like, oh, all of a sudden people are like talking about this thing that I'm doing. And all I did was bend down. I kneeled when I talked to people. And people were making some like big deal, like, Coca-Cola sold to Pepsi.
Right.
Because no one's actually treating these people like fucking humans.
Right.
Isn't
it sad? Yeah.
Yeah. And like dealing with the elderly and stuff, you'd go to people like, hey, here's what's going on, and they'd be talking about the person. I'm like, he's right here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why are you ignoring the person that's going through? I'm not here to talk to you, by the way.
Right.
So be quiet and
Yeah.
let you know. It's amazing what people, how selfish they become because they don't know how to address their fear of the situation that's going
Yeah, I
on.
know. Yeah, you know what, you just saying that makes all sense. Like, yeah, the people are right here. It's like you're just totally ignoring the fact that they totally understand you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like it's just yeah, people say and do stupid things.
Oh, all the time.
And it's and I just it just for me, I am blown away by the human mind, and how it's amazing, because you're right, because we really don't look into the effects that mental health has with men. Whenever a man is considered mentally ill, it's either he's a murderer, or what I'm saying, or a homeless guy, or it's like they don't see why they committed suicide, or why they're drinking themselves to death, or why they're doing the things or acting the way they're acting. We immediately take it as they're a murderer, they're violent, they're blah blah blah. And but I honestly feel that it is how people speak to each other. Okay, it's it's just, especially in New York, where we're always on, we're always going, and then to have someone in your life that speaks very calmly and can almost talk you off that ledge. You know what I mean? In everyday life. Whether that's road rage, whether that's having a bar argument, or and we need more of that kind of calmness in our life, or people in our life that know how to speak to us.
Being able to communicate with someone effectively, it makes all the difference in the world.
Exactly, and I think that in itself is a healing process.
Yeah.
But listen, man, it's just something, it's really amazing. And, yes, I would love to be more involved with what you guys do from that perspective. The music.
Well, funny thing you mentioned that, because we do have an idea. It's called Songs I Heard in My Brother's Room.
Wow.
And it's all the great songs from the 70s that I heard on my brother's stereo.
Wow.
And like, I have 20 people who knew my brother who are already want to play on tracks.
Oh, I'll play on a track. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, we're talking old Kiss and like all types of stuff, just fun.
Just tell me what
all
you
the
want.
Proceeds go to, he was a veteran. So it'll go to veterans suicide.
We're totally on it. Tell me a song that you want.
Absolutely, man.
You just let me know what it is, and and we'll do it. And because I think that's okay. One thing about anything that I do, musically, I give 100%. So meaning, not give 100% of talent. I give 100% towards the cause.
Dedication. Yeah.
So anything that I can do that will make any difference. And I said, I mentioned something to the guys here when we're talking about Rock for Rocco and all that. I said, I want to thank you guys for never asking me why. You just did it.
Right.
And that's really important. And I had a good friend of mine who, when I talked about this compilation CD that I was doing to help original music, and he was an original guy and he's struggling, he's trying to figure out, he just fucking hammered me. He was like, "You doing this to make money for yourself? Are you lying to people? I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?"
Right, exactly.
I was like, what? Where the fuck did this come?
Well, that's someone who's obviously not creative or something, because they don't know.
I'm like, what are you afraid of?
You get paid for the book. I'm like, dude, when you write a book, you have to write it first.
Exactly. I'm like, what are you afraid of?
Right. Yeah.
And and I just, unfortunately, he snapped on me twice. And I'm not gonna say he's my best friend, because I don't know the guy that well, but we got to know each other. And he took the time to 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Hey man, can I talk to you about an issue I'm having with the band? Blah, blah, blah. You know, I found them a singer. I helped him out with a few things. Went one evening, wasted my evening, went in to see his band. And, you know, at rehearsal saying, hey, I think you should do this, that. Anyway, then he attacked me. And he attacked me over, I have one of those, what do they call, like those virtual offices, right?
Yeah.
You know, with an address in Manhattan. And he's like, you don't live in Manhattan. Are you afraid to give your home address out because you're doing something wrong? And I was like, fucking dude. I'm like, whoa, that's just a fucking mailing address.
Right.
I'm like, I'll tell you, it's like, and yeah, I don't want to put my home address on the album. I'm like who does that anyway?
Right.
I mean, you know, it's
right,
like,
exactly.
it's like, you know, it's like fucking, if I have the option of other things, other addresses. And it was such a stupid conversation.
Yeah, no kidding.
That I can't speak to the guy anymore. However, I know he's totally paying attention, not to this, but what I'm doing. And, you know, then the album came out. I'm like, you know, proceed will go to this. And TikTok's happening. You know, each thing. And it's like, now he sees the whole thing, the whole plan behind this was something better. And you ripped me a new asshole to the point that I can't even speak to you because it was so weird.
Yeah, right.
And it's like,
like I say all the time, I'm like, this gets funded, I get to fund everyone.
Exactly.
You know
It's
what I mean? Like everyone's fucking working.
Yeah. And, you know, and then I get the strangers, you know, that are, you know, have become like best buddies over this project.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, I mean, it's really interesting. So it's like, you know, like I people like that, I was like, wow, man, you got, I mean, again, but he's got mental issues, right? So I shouldn't be knocking him, you know, but the thing
trust issues, it sounds like.
It just like, dude, the way you spoke to me, like I'm trying to rip off the world while all I'm doing is putting compilation bands on a CD that I'm fucking paying for. I'm like, you know, I was like, who am I hurting?
Yeah, people have no idea the cost behind everything, and that, you know, it takes a while to recoup those. And you know.
Absolutely, you know, but you know, that's it, man. Anyway, so listen, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Man. Let me know what I could do with the music. I'll keep you posted on stuff like that, and you know, and then Rob will go have a hot dog.
Absolutely. We'll get those. So you have the one track out, and then two others with the current.
I'll send everything to you guys. To Rob. I have your number.
Yeah, because then I'll go up Blabbermouth's ass and like.
I'm gonna give you. I'll give you an official like press release type of thing.
Oh, cool! Absolutely.
That is so. This way, you know, and then you could word it any way you want.
Yeah, and I'll put it up on Vaudeville Press, and I'll come at it from
exactly. You know what's going on with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then this way it's like it's factual. It's just not bullshit, right?
Absolutely.
So so give me a couple days and we'll get that on. We'll get that going, and it'll be exciting, man. And I want to thank you guys again, and thank Rob, of course.
Yeah, thanks, Joey.
Thank you for
doing it. Yeah, Rob, I want to talk to you. You know, I'm curious about how you got into photography, so we'll make that another conversation. So.
Absolutely.
You're welcome anytime, dude. You're now part of the family, and we will keep everyone updated on everything. You know, Joey Jem.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate what you guys do.
Right on. Love you, brothers.
Love you guys
Joey.
too, man. Thank you. Have a great one.
Outro, ladies and gentlemen.
Joey Jem.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
Bye. You too.
Bye-bye.
This has been another Creativity Talking episode brought to you by vaudevillepress.com. Everybody, have a good one, and later, people. Have a good one, bud. That was good.
Yeah, it was real
great,
good,
man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Too bad that fucking first 20 minutes fucking didn't fucking.
What happened, dude?
Yeah, dude, it was like I don't know what happened.
Man, hey.
But
it happened. It happened.
44 episodes, but we saved it, and I think it even got better. You know.
Yeah.
Dude, I had one of my comedic moments, man. It hit me, and it was like I was waiting for a spot to put it in, and I just couldn't do it. But when you were all, everything was real serious. You were talking about the people that called you that were ready to commit suicide and all that.
Yeah.
And you said you said it. You know, they've got my phone number. I put my phone number up there, and I wanted to so bad jump in and say, and fucking Ingve's going to start pranking your ass.
Oh, dude, you should have said that.
Dude, I was trying, but I couldn't find. You were like talking. I was trying to find it in.
Yeah.
And then
and
then too much time went by. And I'm like, it'll just fall on its face.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I could have put it in there,
dude, what a great guest! And if we get a blabbermouth fucking shout out, that's a big deal. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How does one go about doing that though?
Oh, basically, he's gonna give us the press release.
Yeah.
So then I approach Blabbermouth.
Yeah.
As Creativity Talking, hey, on this podcast, he just announced Billy Sheen's new band.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
So now we've got some cred. We can get some other people now. Now we get Todd LaTorre on and some other dudes. And
yeah, he was talking about Zebra, man. I'm a big Zebra fan. I wonder if he knows Randy Jackson and those guys. I mean,
I know Randy Jackson.
You know Randy?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, man. I'm dying for some new Zebra music, but yeah, that'd be cool to have Randy on.
They're huge out here on the island.
Yeah, they were in New York back even when I was in high school. They used to play the Chants in Poughkeepsie a lot and all that.
Yeah.
They were a Hudson Valley band, you know, up there.
Yeah, when I went to go see whatchamacallit, Trickster opened up, and then it was Y&T, and then Zebra did their big album as a whole.
Yeah, are they still playing? Are they still playing Long Island pretty regularly, Rob?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, see, I've been I've been down here for so long. I didn't know if they were still even playing or not.
Oh yeah, they're huge out here. Huge.
Cool. Yeah.
So, but yeah. Even during the pandemic, Randy. Huh?
His sunglasses were fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah. But even on during the pandemic, Randy was actually almost every day he was doing like an acoustic set.
Oh wow.
You know, I don't know whether it was 20 minutes or a half hour or whatever, and then you know, he'd have his virtual tip jar out and everything like that. So
cool.
Boy did he.
Boy did he.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know. Yeah, like I said, I didn't know if they were still playing or if they were just kind of semi-retired or what they were doing.
I think they're semi-retired, but yeah, I don't think they're actually writing new material. But